That wasn't me.
Okay, thank you.
So you might want to check your audio again, just switch back to the owl.
All right. Ow, ow. Okay, I think we're good.
Okay.
We can see us.
Okay.
Al is back on. Okay. So no to reading it all again, is that correct?
I
I
can.
don't think he has to,
Okay.
but
All right.
they heard us.
Okay, good.
It's not ready.
Then they can see us now. Okay.
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Is there a second?
Second.
Was this motion the second?
Do you guys have any questions about the consent
I was
agenda?
gonna
We
say-
gotta get that part of it. I was just gonna ask, yeah, anybody, I got one on number 5.
Well, that's the one I was gonna ask on. Do we want to talk about that?
Sure.
I saw it in your notes about gonna pay for the trees now and gonna grow them for us, is that?
Yes,
Mhm.
a two-phase approach. Josh was just asking if that was a possibility. And we have, let me see if I can find,
Was this the same nursery that we used the last time that, what's his name, bought the trees
I
from?
believe so, yes. So it was a grant award of 50,000, expenditures to date total 25,230. So we have a balance of 24,770.
And how many trees did we put in this last time? About 30, wasn't it?
30 or more, I cannot remember.
That's great.
Yeah, I know that I saw them a lot pop up around the village area. I just get a, so would we be paying him some money down to grow them for us?
Some growing money and then some install money from that grant.
So what happens if
The trees don't grow.
they don't grow or he goes out of business, nurseries, people go out of business. I'm not saying he's
Sure.
going to, but.
I can find out about that.
Have we paid for them yet?
No,
No,
not
we
yet.
haven't.
This,
But you would,
No,
write-
No,
he
but we
wants the
will
money.
have,
right.
He wants the
but you
money.
would write that into the contract
Yeah.
when you would exchange.
yeah, it's an
the money.
RFP. It would be like the two-phase
Okay.
RFP, so you send it out.
So
And it may-
right now,
it may
we're
not
just
be
gonna
that-
write the RFP.
Correct.
Not approach.
Yeah,
Okay.
but he wanted to know if we could do a two-phase. So it would be an RFP, two RFPs, one for that initial growing phase for us, and then the second where they'd be they're grown and then installed for us.
So probably, we're gonna find out, probably won't put any in 25. We're gonna grow them in 25. We probably won't.
Correct, probably not, no. And we might already, he may have more that we are putting in 2025 from another round. I can't remember the details on
I thought they were, but I can't remember
Yeah.
either.
I'd like just a little more information. I mean, I approved the consent agenda to, let's do a.
that. Yeah, we can, well, the
Let's do our
RFP, will-
RFP.
yeah, we can bring
Let's
the
go to
RFP
RFP stage.
to us and then, yeah, that's fine.
But yeah, I like the idea.
Okay,
Yeah.
Makes
Okay,
sense.
there's a motion and a second. for the consent agenda.
The kayak race, they've got insurance and all that. Everything's good there.
All the same conditions.
yeah.
Yeah.
Is that correct, Meredith? They're all set? Okay,
And I would just like to acknowledge Tyler's resignation. He wasn't with us long. This is his second time, but he's a new dad with his wife and he's the breadwinner and it was just too much at this time. So we told him the door's always open if he wants to come back, so.
Great.
any questions about the right of way?
Nope.
Okay,
Is that usually a 20-foot people? 25.
It's access, it's not right away. Isn't it? Yeah, it's an
It's a
access.
driveway access.
yeah, 20-foot wide driveway
Okay,
access.
so it's not a road, it's just a road driveway. Okay,
It's on the Latursky subdivision,
correct.
Which one is that? I was trying to figure out which one that
right
was.
across from,
Oh, here, old place, Laura's.
Across from your parents' old place?
No, Laura's next house north, just before Pine Tree Gardens, before the big pit. You know where Laura
where
Thurston-
Adam Ginsburg lived,
Yeah, I know where Adam lived.
in between there and Latursky's.
Okay.
There's that little barn he's got, Latursky's. They-
Okay.
that's
I was thinking it
complete.
was down further this way.
They go
I
with a
was
lot.
like, Okay.
I thought there was 2 lots there, that's all going back. There's one-
There are two, but I think he bought.
They
he
bought
them
both.
Oh, they bought them both, okay.
Is James actually putting in the,
James is gonna build
That's my
that.
understanding.
he's gonna build their house?
Mhm.
That's what I said in this email.
Okay, is there a motion in a second? Any more questions on the consent agenda? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, okay. Regular business, discuss and potential adopt
Try to do as
updating
many
zoning
as I can.
application fees, AZ Lazarus. Planning and zoning administrator. AZ, you're up.
Daisy's here, and I'll share the proposed figures. Let's see if I can find that. Okay,
Howdy. Thank you for having me. Sorry I can't be in person. I tried to get home before any bad weather hit dark roads.
Oh, come
Um,
on, AZ.
Sorry. I'm nervous.
okay.
With budgeting going on, I thought I would propose this kind of adjustment of the zoning schedule based off just my time here and what I've been seeing during my time in the position. Some of the changes you'll see is adding accessory dwelling units to the residential fee schedule. In my time, the accessory dwelling units I've seen have varied so much in size. Some people are doing tiny homes, some people are going to the maximum allowed square footage. So I feel like with accessory dwelling units, since they are residential, they should be the fee schedule should be the same. And then for accessory structures, changing that just to one flat rate, 75, no matter the size, just making it a little bit more smoother, simpler. And then same here with change of use, home occupation, and sign, kind of evening out those payments. They don't happen often, especially so.
Sorry, keep going. If
Go
somebody,
ahead, AZ.
there's somebody just coming in the waiting room.
Oh, gotcha. And then I know we have combined the certificate of compliance and occupancy, but when people apply for permits, they need a certificate of compliance to close out that permit. And so to me, I think it makes sense to have that fee included in the original permit, but I put it on here so people would know what that extra fee would be for. And that would be paid upfront with their permit. And then moving on to subdivision, Joel, I know that we had this discussion on if it is per lot or per new lot. And I believe it should be per new lot of what you are subdividing. If you have one lot and you're doing a 2-lot subdivision, you're adding one new lot and you should pay for the new lots. And then
Okay, so I guess that answers my question. So if it's like a 5 acres existing lot and you're subdividing off 2 acres, then it's only one new lot because you already have the existing.
There's always one.
Yeah.
You always start with one.
Okay.
yeah, and so you should pay for the subdivisions of the new lots. And we had this discussion, Joel and I, when he did his subdivision.
Mhm.
And the last kind of proposed change I have is with the development review board, there are 2 different types of public hearings. One that has to be publicly warned in the newspaper, and then ones that do not need to be publicly warned, which are for waivers, site plan review, kind of minor development review board cases. And for this, there's still administrative costs, but since there isn't that warned public hearing, I thought doing half of that would make sense as a fee for going to the development review board for the time the development review board is putting into coming and having these hearings, for the administrative work on my end, and just to kind of make it a little bit clearer when you go to the development review board what the fees are associated with that. And
So right now, do they all pay the $150 no matter what, whether it's a waiver, or do they not pay anything if it's a waiver and not required a warrant hearing?
Good question. They usually pay based off what it's usually an accessory structure, but I haven't had any site plan reviews applied for this year. So that would be part of the non-warned public hearings. They do pay for what the accessory structure is, but in my mind, having one, just you're going to the development review board, no matter what, here's the fee.
Could I ask a question? It looks
Yeah.
like it looks like you would, so if you're building something that you would apply for more than one of these, do you know what the average payment is for like a new division, like somebody splitting off some of their acreage to build a new house?
Like if they're doing a subdivision and then building a new house,
Mm-hmm.
I would put those fees at 600, 800 with the subdivision. So
Okay.
It would probably depend, Jessica, because if they come in, they're usually coming in first for a subdivision
Mm-hmm.
to see that they can get it. And then once they get the subdivision, then either they're selling the property off and somebody else is getting the building permit, or then they decide they're gonna build. So
Right,
it may not all be at the same time,
right.
because you may not have.
I just wanted to know, since we're trying to encourage more development, I just wanted to know what an average total was, but that seems reasonable.
Easy, so okay, I just want to clarify, where the certificate of compliance. So say I'm doing a real estate deal where it's a refinancing and I need to get a certificate of compliance for that. It's $60. But if somebody has applied for a building permit or zoning permit to build a house, that $35 is already included in that permit fee already? Is that what you're saying? I just want to make sure I understand what you've got this set out as.
I'm saying that 35 will be extra to the
Issue that.
yeah. So
So
yeah,
if they have a permit, if they've gotten a permit, in order for them to finalize a permit, they need a certificate of compliance, that's another $35 for them. If like me working for an attorney's office, request a certificate of compliance for something I'm doing that's a sale or a purchase, whatever, then that's $60. Does
yes.
that make sense? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's just the
I just want to make sure.
Crazy, if someone is, gonna build a house and they file for a permit and they meet all the setbacks and stuff, no big hearing, everything, you look it over, stamp it. And then in 6 months, they said, okay, we need a certificate of occupancy. So that's an extra $35,
Mhm.
or is that part of the,
No, that's
The zoning
extra
fee.
$35.
it would be part of the like when they apply for that building permit, they're going to be paying the residential rate of 10 cents per square foot plus $50 per unit, and then also this 35.
okay, 35, not 60.
Right.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Sorry.
included in the, okay.
I think we might want to change the wording there just a little bit so it's clearer, but I like the idea of
Yeah,
doing it.
absolutely. Yeah. I'm totally open to suggestions on changing wording. I was just trying to get all my thoughts on to one page.
Under
Yeah,
the development review, now down here in the downtown designation district,
It's
the-
a design review.
design review board, if it has to go in front of the design review board, is there another charge or no? That's part of the.
There hasn't been a charge for, I actually ran into this issue this year with a DRC application. They needed DRC approval to do the work, but they weren't actually building any accessory structures. There weren't any change of uses, but they were doing changes to the exterior of the building that required development review board review, or not development review board, downtown design review. My apologies. But in that so this could be development review or just review, so it could capture downtown design review commission of just, you're going before a commission, a board for review. There's a $75 fee for both those.
Yeah, because it's still your time to set it up and do all that and organize it, whether it's a development review or design review commission.
Yeah, so you may want to clarify that. They say
Okay.
development review / design review.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And
Because
then in the certificate of compliance, I wouldn't say included in the permit fee, because when I read that, I think it's part of the initial fee,
Right.
so. I would just fix the wording.
okay,
like certificate of compliance if you've already paid the permit fee, right? Something like that.
Yeah.
Looks good.
looks good though.
okay.
Okay, anything else, AZ? Yes.
That
Not on that one. So that's
was
one,
just it
that's
for-
one agenda item
Yeah.
for that.
Do we need to move this or is it all
Yeah, we
We
administrative?
do. No,
Okay. I move that we adopt the updated zoning application fees.
Oops, I
With
should-
changes.
Hold on, before I didn't ask if there's any questions on the audience. Chris has been in that field before, so I didn't.
Not working easy on this.
Okay, all right, go ahead, sorry.
What about anybody out there?
Anybody got any comments out in the, on Zoom? Go ahead, Jessica. I'm gonna ask anyone.
I move that we adopt the planning and zoning, oh wait, up here, the updated zoning application fees
With our changes.
with our changes.
I'll second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Now, is there any, with our few changes, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Okay. Number two, discuss the potential approval of planning and zoning's role in the right of way and access permits. AZ Larson. Okay, AZ, you're up again.
Why, thank you for having me yet again in such a short amount of time. So this is something I've been discussing with Ian in his role as the interim town administrator. And something I've been thinking on for a little bit is, in my role, I received any permits for development, and part of those, some permits do require access and right-of-way permits. But historically, those have gone to the town administrator's office or to the town clerk. And I don't see them, nor do I know of them sometimes until I go looking for them, with the zoning permit. But what I'm proposing is streamlining the permitting process for not only applicants, for my office, for the town administrator's office, for the select board, for the clerk, for the public works, by having all access and right-of-way permits come through my office. From there, I will send them to the town administrator to get to the select board, or to Eric, or to both if necessary. And that way they'll be accessible by me as well, for when people come in for building permits, or if people apply for building permits, I know that they have their access already, or I can tell them they need to get the access and be able to give that permit to them. And I find this from support of the section 720. And it's stating that all activity that a zoning permit is required does need to go to the select board. So when there is a zoning permit that needs access approval, to me, in my mind, it made sense that it also comes through my office. And again, as before with my previous proposal, I am very open to your perspective and your suggestions and comments on this proposal of mine.
I was really confused when I first read this because it said right-of-way approval. And it's for work in the right-of-way approval, correct? Not.
Yes.
Okay, so I think that needs to be clarified because the way I read it is that we have something to do with right-of-ways, and that's not.
Right, we want to be certain of the
Yeah.
language, yeah.
Well, and any access permit has to go to Eric first.
Correct.
Right, okay.
But I think the idea of it starting out at zoning is good.
Yeah, oh,
because
yeah.
Mhm.
Seems like
Then,
it cleans it up,
then they know something's going on,
Yes.
and
Right.
yeah.
there isn't a surprise when all of a sudden a hole is dug at the end of a new access permit that
Yeah.
there was no.
Well, and AZ
Building
will
permit.
know, if she starts with them, that she'll know, okay, something's coming up, or you need the permit, but you also need the access permit. Right.
Could I?
Joe,
Yeah, cool.
I'd also suggest that ends in zoning, and that these permits go in the zoning file. Right now, over the last 10 years, it's been, we'll figure out where to put them. So if we could just put them with the zoning file, that way it would stay with the property, and we would know where it was.
Right.
Easy, what about state road? Working the right of way in the state road, how will we deal with that? Same thing?
That's a state permit.
Yeah, that's an agency of
That's why I'm
transportation.
asking. I know it's a state permit, that's why I'm asking.
Well, we can't give access permit to a state road either.
So should we say that in his proposal here submitted? That only for town highways?
If
Yeah.
somebody wants to build off of 116 or 17, we don't give the access permit. And I don't know how, I understand what we're trying to accomplish with this. I don't know how we get them to let us know that they're giving that out.
well, so what happens now when someone comes to the town? I presumably talks to Eric or talks to Sharon. you know that if it's a state road, you send them to the state for
We've
access?
never had anybody come and
Oh.
request the driveway access or work in the right of way on the state highway.
Oh.
I think
Really?
most people must know that you have to go to AOT.
I was gonna
All the ones
say.
I've seen have been just on
Mhm.
Yeah.
town roads.
When I was doing this, if somebody would talk to me about wanting to build, it was like, you need to contact this AOT
Okay,
to get the permit from the state of Vermont.
okay. So I think the same thing would apply here. It would start in the zoning administrator's office, and then that information would be told. and
They'd
then-
be sent that way.
I think
Because
so.
Donnie's son built off of 116, and I know he had to get a state permit,
Mhm.
and then he had to get another one because he moved the drive.
Oops,
I,
yeah, but this is
I
just the
just-
whole, to clean it up,
Yeah. Well, that's why I asked.
yeah.
The problem is AC probably never gets those permits. You
I
don't see those permits from the state.
don't.
right? Mhm.
No,
It's too
when
bad it
people-
can't be
We
part
could
of,
ask
part of
for a
our
copy.
permit, yeah, it's too bad it can't be part of the permit.
We could ask for a copy of the state access permit for anything off a state highway. I mean, we only have two there's not a lot of,
Building right there,
yeah.
My only question is, why?
just to have it in the permit, file, just to have it. in the
Why?
file.
You have we have no jurisdiction over that piece of dirt.
No, but for me as a title searcher, it's nice to have it in
No,
there.
I disagree with you.
That's-
We don't have any title search, we don't have any jurisdiction for the first 24 and 3/4 feet in the center of the road, and then they gotta come for a zoning permit.
Right, but you don't have any, you have no jurisdiction over that piece of dirt, that 25 feet of dirt. So-
What can it hurt to have it in the file so that,
Well,
It's
so you're gonna hold up a building permit.
Building permit is different than they gotta come to us for a building permit.
Well, how do you enforce getting this work in the, or this right of way permit?
all we're doing is asking for it,
Okay,
We're not saying you
That's-
have to have it, we're just asking for it to have it in the
so it can
file.
be in the file.
Yeah,
okay.
that's not a requirement.
You all the way out of town.
So,
With
yeah,
public records, you'd be able to find it
They
anyway.
should be online.
Yeah.
I would think
I
so.
don't know.
I mean, if someone,
No.
goes
I
down
don't
four
know.
corners and wants to develop, and they come to AZ for a permit for a building. But, well, I don't know where I'm putting my driveway yet, but that's not your concern. It's not his concern, but it's AOT's, but we should know.
Well, we didn't have it when we had the one down by, Hewett Road. did we? We don't have any documents from when they put in their road off.
Hillside position,
No, I mean, the only time that would come up would be if it was an Act 250 permit, would be reviewed probably in Act 250. But again, from us.
I think it's something in, just in those. AZ's letter is saying that, if they're gonna be need a building permit, we need to know if we need an access permit and location of your building permit.
Like I said, the location's irrelevant to us.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's just the idea of what they have one.
Mhm.
I mean, I think it just makes the records cleaner.
okay, AZ, thoughts?
Yeah,
while I don't receive when people get AOT driveway access, I do agree that it would be good to have it in the file, but we can't require it, since we don't have the jurisdiction. But I will say that, with a recent subdivision off 116, the DRB required the applicant to go to AOT and get that access permit figured out before the subdivision. So that's a situation where we do require, in a sense, the attaining of that access permit, even if it's at the state level.
Okay,
okay.
any other thoughts on
questions?
this?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think starting them there and then ending them there in the file, and it's done, it's sealed, or not sealed, but it's put away, everything's in that file. I think that makes good
Well,
sense.
at the end of the day, it could be better for the landowner when they come to get
We're
rid of
gonna
it.
go,
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's all
We'll
all in
search
one
it.
place.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. It'd be great to have a motion to
Yeah.
approve that.
With the wording cleaned up.
Yeah.
I'll make that motion to. What are we doing?
Number two.
PNC's role in the right of way and access permits.
Yeah, to have the access permits and the work in the right of way go through the zoning office first, planning and zoning first.
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second. Any more discussion on that motion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Alright,
Opposed? Abstain? Okay. Budget workshop.
great. Thank you, AZ.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Have
AZ.
a great evening.
Thank
Budget
you.
workshop, preliminary budget review for rec department, police department, other sections if available. Well, why don't we-
What are we doing first?
Well, Meredith was here first, so we're gonna do there.
Wow.
She's
got farther to
go home.
You wanna,
No, Bruce's budget will be quicker.
Say mine's short.
okay, step right up. Step right
I
up.
don't know. I have a lot of questions for you, Bruce.
Alright,
I don't have any answers.
alright,
Step right.
let's do Bruce's first.
You'll put it up on the screen.
I will.
You never get answers from law enforcement. That's the way it works.
Limited.
I'd also recommend inviting Chris and Sharon just in on the discussion so they can discuss if need be.
Okay.
Let me pull this up. I can find. Let's see.
Must be Bruce gonna do it on the screen, because he doesn't have his laptop with him.
Bruce is gonna do it from memory.
And when you see it, you'll know why.
All right, let's see here. Hold on. Okay.
Guess I'm gonna have to.
Come on,
start
you
bringing
should
my
be able
li-
to
I'm gonna have to
this
start
up,
bringing
just
my
like
laptop.
that.
I'm drawing it out. I'm deliberately doing it. No, I'm making sure.
I could start asking my
I'm making
questions
sure I-
without it
I
in
have
front
Boy,
of
now
us.
we can really read it. Boy, I wish it was on a piece of paper.
Yeah, you
No,
wish.
Right.
Yeah, we're getting there. All right. Okay,
Okay,
can everyone see that? Good.
No, not really, but you're going to see a lot of blanks,
Right.
especially when it comes to the salary. We are in the process of negotiating,
Yeah.
and I don't think we're at a spot where we can even estimate.
Yeah,
will we have a number by the 1st of February?
Oh, I hope so.
Yeah.
I think
We can have probably
An
have.
estimated number.
Yes, we'll have better perspective.
Okay,
After I think the next meeting.
Yeah.
They've been productive, but it's taking a little bit.
yeah,
We'll blame this last one on me.
yeah, we didn't need to get through it. It just takes a bit.
I have a couple of questions, Bruce. Detailed revenues. That includes July 4th, I know. Does that also include like the races that we just
If
agreed to
if they
and
need,
the bike races?
if they need our services,
That all comes under the detailed
that's
revenues.
detailed revenue.
Okay, then,
Is Pocock Rocks in there too?
Yes.
Okay.
okay.
Is the, do you
know, I
still
think I
do,
forgot to build that.
do you still do,
remember seeing
ball games
Whoopsie.
and that, or is that part of Maddie's?
That's all
contract?
part of the mounting contract.
Mhm.
We came up with a flat rate, increased it.
Gotcha.
Okay, so that was my question on the Mount Aid contract too, was like, if our number, like, if it comes above what we contract for, that they pay that, right? They pay no
That
matter
number
what.
is, we settled on that number for whatever service we need to do for the year.
Okay, so it won't ever be above that.
It will, no, it won't go above it, but when we renegotiate next year, it'll increase. Every year it increases.
Yeah.
Okay,
We just work.
and you kind of keep track of how much time you spend there to make that determination. Okay.
I have a revenue question too.
Mhm.
You can keep asking yours. I just didn't
No,
want
go
you to-
ahead.
I just didn't want you to leave the
Yeah.
category. This is my first budget, so I don't know what some of these categories are. What is the number 9, the non-district services?
So it's if we respond to a call outside the police district, we charge for
Okay. And
So if they
It's
have to come
not-
up to my house for some reason,
it.
That's out of the
In the
district.
town of Bristol.
A,
Out of
Within
the
the
police district in the
Town
town
of
of Bristol.
a call, because we contract for, speed enforcement. So
Okay.
that's
Yes, the
the,
speed enforcement is going to be town contract.
town contract,
so
the 21.5.
it's listed in the budget at 10,000, but doesn't usually come up to that, and it's supposed to increase. Do you have a sense about why you think that's going to increase?
They should be higher. Unfortunately, with the change in the treasurer's position or last couple,
Mhm.
some of the revenue was put into the incorrect
Okay,
location.
Mhm.
So that's
Okay.
something
so those
Sharon's
numbers,
working on.
okay,
Yeah.
so those aren't, because it looks like a big gap, but
Yes.
it's not as big of a gap as it looks
We've been
like.
averaging about 3,000 a quarter.
Is that the same for the fines too, Bruce?
Yeah, the fines, I don't know, we've got to look at that, yeah.
Okay.
And then I also had a question about the dog officer position.
Don't ask about
Easy.
that.
Well, no, I just
Don't
I don't know how it works, but I'm a dog owner, so we pay a license fee. Is that, the license fee is where that money comes
No.
The
from?
license fee goes to the town. This is
And to the
just-
state.
And to the state.
Okay.
So the dog officer position is to have somebody available to answer animal complaints or dog complaints.
We used to
Okay.
have a position,
pound.
a dog pound and a dog.
Right, I've
warden.
heard this description before,
Yes.
yeah, so I
And
know
then
that
we just-
those got
They were
rolled
doing
in
most of it,
together.
so couldn't get a hold of the dog warden at the time, so we just said,
Okay.
Well, we were the fallback
and then the
when the
fallback.
other
became
person
the-
wasn't available,
Mhm.
and they were never available during the day because they couldn't leave work
Right,
unless it was an emergency situation. And so the police
you were
department was
doing
the
it
one
anyway.
collecting the dogs and working on the complaints.
So I'm wondering because it looks like it keeps going up. So which I'm then guessing means that you're doing more and more of that type of work, which is, not your training, right? And so would that be a position that we would want to contract with somebody, like all the new, they're not animal shelters, but in Addison County?
We already contract with
We
them.
are.
But we do,
But they don't.
But
come
they-
out.
but
They
they
don't
don't
come
come
out and
out.
answer
They only
calls
take
that we,
right,
right, we can bring the dog there if you have a contract with them and they'll house
to
the dog.
keep, okay,
But as far
But
as
you still
answering the
have to
complaints
catch
and
it.
coming out, and so they won't come to those.
okay,
Yeah.
You
Could we-
haven't had to deal with dog complaints like that?
no. Just
Count
the
your
barking
blessings.
one, that's it.
That's
But,
minor.
so would it be, have you all considered before increasing the dog license fee to
I think
offset?
it's state
some of
set, isn't it,
this.
or no?
Part of it's state set, in fact, it just went up,
Mhm.
but the town only gives.
Oh, great.
$4 a license. Yeah, the state gets 7 and I get 4.
Mhm.
Can
They
we
get
get, can we
seven
get
for
more than
what?
4?
Right,
You have to, it has to be approved by the select board if we increase that part of our fee.
Okay.
What does the state do with their share? What does it go towards?
Well, now it goes to, their spay program and something else. They just raised it. They used to get 5, now they get 7.
So we're paying
It
for all
just
those
seems
people who
like-
can't afford to spay their own.
it just
And
seems
you
like
can
sort of a
only go so
non-essential
high,
thing
too,
that's
on that.
expensive. I hate those
It's,
things.
it's very essential.
No,
We-
not that it's not essential for the town, it totally is, but for Bruce and his officers.
That's what we're
not
hoping
I
the
would
their-
rather
community
somebody
office.
else do it.
Right, right, that's what I
Yeah.
mean, it's not their
Also
real
us,
job,
Yeah.
but
Bruce-
it looks like increasingly it's becoming a big part of the
Well,
job.
It
Not only
is.
that, but I increase it because our cost for.
Goes up.
Goes up every year.
Right,
So that's why these revenues should go up as our costs go up.
And we're
Right.
hoping that the community resource officer may help Bruce with some
They
of that.
can, and they do, the position
Yeah, okay.
does.
well, so maybe this probably isn't the time to talk about it because we need to do these budgets, by February 1st. But maybe this is something we could add to our list of things to do, is to come back to this. Because it doesn't seem to me to make sense to have people as well trained as Bruce and his officers.
You don't have
catching these
anybody else
random-
willing to do it.
I
That's the
know, but
problem.
maybe we could explore that a little bit.
It eliminates some of the trouble as well.
Right.
Somebody showing up in uniform to pick the dog,
Right.
as
Yeah.
opposed to you showing up to pick the dog.
I could wear a uniform.
No,
Okay,
but it's,
Bruce has had some pretty dicey.
Yeah.
and some that
situation.
have taken hours and hours and hours of his time.
Yeah.
Right.
We've had, one dog up in the notch that took,
A lot of hours.
I didn't even
Yeah.
keep track how many hours, but yeah. it's-
Yeah.
So we've got the wandering horse or two, that's probably.
Yeah, it
Good
says
for
dog
animal-
officer position.
should be an animal
probably should
control.
Say animal something.
Animal control.
Because we do, any animal complaint that comes into the town of Bristol falls on us.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But with the horses and other things, if we pass this ordinance, the owner will have to pay those costs. This one, it seems like the
You can't
town
get
is
blood out of
paying.
a stone. I'm just
Right.
telling you. And you can offer all you can put that policy in place, but
Yeah, but even if it offsets it somewhat, I mean, if it keeps increasing like this, you're gonna look at, a really large
I
part of the
get it,
budget
but-
being dogs.
animals, not just
Animals,
dogs,
sorry.
animals.
So
Any
anyway,
other
I just
questions?
think that would be good if we can
I-
add that to whatever master list you're keeping.
Yep.
I just
Okay.
have one more question. Can you explain police services? What's that defined as?
So that's, if somebody comes in, for fingerprints, the
Fingerprint,
fingerprint
okay.
fee. If
Okay.
somebody's looking for a copy of an accident report, the insurance companies pay $15 per.
Okay.
If somebody wants a VIN verification and they don't live in
Okay.
the police district, there's a fee.
I was trying to figure out what the cutoff between what and what was. Okay,
And it looks like, and at some points, it's been a lot higher. Was that just a weird year, or do you think that?
They put the revenue was put in the wrong
Oh,
location.
okay, okay.
And, but wasn't some of that, the school system required everybody to get fingerprints?
every 3 years.
You were loaded up with a lot or not,
No, that was errors in,
coding it?
yeah, one of the previous.
Okay, my question's here. This top one. What is this?
Which top one?
Health
I don't
insurance.
know, somebody added that.
Okay,
It's a leftover, I think.
okay,
I thought I got all the zeros out, but there's two of them that I noticed the zero.
okay, so we could probably. get rid of
Because
that.
those are going to be part of the overall personnel
Um,
budget, right?
And then what's
Yeah.
the insurance
Oh,
down
okay.
below?
No, because that's a revenue. I don't know
Okay,
why that's in there.
Okay,
Okay.
what's this one? Fitting station?
That's an old one.
Yeah.
That's when they had car
Car
fitting,
seats, yeah.
fitting station.
Okay, let's get rid of
And
that.
I think
Yes.
Brett does that now, doesn't
Probably
he?
does.
Yeah,
He's the
yeah.
only car seat technician in Bristol that I know of.
Okay,
Mhm.
And the pediatrician's office, they'll do it in Millbury.
yeah, those are my two questions I had.
The transfer in, is that on something old?
Oh, yeah,
So
transfer.
somewhere we used unassigned funds the last couple of years, and that's not showing up
Mhm.
in this, I don't know where that went or what they call it. But we used some to help offset. that.
Offset, I remember that, yeah.
I think we've done it twice, but there's nothing showing.
Mhm. It's off in La La Land.
It's in the cloud.
No, I
It's
did
a
not
storm
like
cloud.
that.
We did it.
Okay, yeah, okay. So obviously, as Bruce said, we're gonna skip over these since we're in negotiations currently. And then we've got some members
The
here.
insurance and that should all be in there.
What
though.
Is that insurance on the training, the supplies? Is
Number
that
38.
insurance, yeah, number 38. That's not health insurance, is that like
I
liability
think that would be
vehicle?
Vehicle and liability insurance.
Yeah, and I
Okay.
just got the breakdown from VLCT today, so I can
Put those numbers
what
in
goes
there.
where.
Okay,
I mean, I knew it wasn't health insurance because that was down farther, but we're up farther, I should say. Those are all my questions.
I had more questions, if that's
Sure.
okay. So for uniforms and postage, they're side by side, 36 and 37.
Yep.
It looks like there's a lot less expenditure in those categories. And so I didn't know if you wanted to keep it constant because you expected there to be more expenditure, or if you just weren't sure, or if you just hadn't changed it.
So some of like the uniform allowance, they get so much per year if they need replacements. Not every year somebody needs to replace a pair of pants or 2 pairs of pants or 2 shirts.
Mhm.
If we have a new police officer that comes in, it's over $2,000 just for the initial cost for a new police officer for uniform. So
Mhm.
we've kind of come up with that and left it at that. Some years we use it all, some years we don't.
I mean, you spent 32 last year, so it's not that far off from the $4,000. This year, yeah, but we're only halfway through this year.
And so in some
it's
of
a
the,
doubling
when
it.
people started, we had
Well,
2
it
or
could be
3.
more than that. A new officer comes on. it could be
Yeah, and when we had 2 or 3 hires within a short period of time, we didn't buy 4 sets of pants,
Yeah.
which if you look at the contract, says we have to buy 4.
It's
So
really
they were
written
kind enough that we would start off with 2, and then next year we would get 2 more.
Yeah,
So we would get enough, so we kind of spread it out, so it wasn't a
Yeah.
big expense, but having that as that cushion, I thought was the least amount to be comfortable.
Okay. And I think everything else made sense. The only other question I had was about just miscellaneous expense, like what you put in that category.
Which one's that?
Oh, sorry, the
$200?
47.
We got a last one.
Usually. that's
Donuts.
Like really just completely
I wish it was for
miscellaneous.
donuts. No, when we hand out stickers to the kids,
Oh,
the
yeah, okay.
junior stickers.
Mhm.
Or
Like
if we
the ice
do,
cream thing.
right, or if we do something where we're having an event and we invite the public, we might get cookies or some
Okay.
refreshments or something like that.
Okay. Yeah, everything else made sense to me.
Okay.
So one area that I'm confused about is,
Only one?
yeah, only, well, a lot more, but I'm gonna be nice about it. It says supplies and equipment.
Mhm.
We had that separated into 3 different categories, and now they've combined it into one after they've done a review. It's a catch-all, and I thought it would be better to have some of that separated, so you understood when I buy $1,000 worth of ammunition, you know, rather than lump everything into one, but if you wanna keep it all into one.
You have, we did the same thing with the fire department. You have a record of it. So if we asked what was in that line, you could spit it out, I'm sure.
Yeah.
If you're okay with that.
Well, I just thought when the public is reading this, supplies and equipment, it sounds like it's a lot, and what is it? So if we had some of it like office and cleaning supplies or just general supplies, then we had the other was, one was equipment, like if we needed to replace a battery. A lot of stuff now, these things all have batteries. They only last so long, so we'll be replacing. We might have to replace our batteries in these in 1 year, and the next year for the fire alarm or other pieces of equipment that we have batteries, or a cable from the vehicle. We got cables that run through the length of the vehicle, pulling things out, pushing things in. Sometimes those cables get caught. And any cable that you purchase that's proprietary, it's a lot more money.
But I was thinking, no, even firearms too.
Yeah.
1 year you bought firearms.
Right, but that's.
That would come out of that, wouldn't it?
Right,
No.
that comes out of capital equipment, the firearms.
Okay, it does.
But I'm talking the little stuff like, I can't, something we just got.
Bruce, I wouldn't sweat the little stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, that's little stuff. I
But-
mean, people will ask, if they wanna ask, then we can give them more detail.
But I also, I mean, I like
Yeah.
what you're thinking behind it, which is that you want to share it so that people understand the budget. But I think maybe doing that in the meeting itself versus the budget would probably be good. Yeah, so we'll keep this simple and then you can
I
explain.
mean, could be a printer, you need a new printer.
But I do like the idea. I mean, I would hope that we'll do this year, but we'll really try to explain the budget so that people can understand them, not just people who know how to read spreadsheets.
If you need a new laptop and that, does it come out of that supplies and equipment line?
No.
Or is that
It comes
kind
out
of
of
capital equipment?
Capital equipment.
Okay.
Anything large or bigger that we know that we have to replace
That's
is out of
equipment.
capital equipment. Like I said, I think it's a small like label printer or something
Okay.
I bought the other day.
Mhm.
There's little things that come up that you need.
You're increasing your capital vehicle?
We increased it from it's supposed to be 20.
Okay.
So it's
I mean, yeah,
20,220.
I felt
Maybe
it
it
was a
was-
strange number to increase it by, so, okay.
So I had one final question, but it's kind of like a big question. So I don't know if you have an answer to it, but I was just wondering, as you've seen things change, if you think there are additional areas that aren't on here that need some kind of funding or investment. If there are, I know we've added the community resource officer, but things like that where policing
The
has
community
changed.
resource officer is a town position, yes.
Right.
At some point, we have to address what we're going to do as far as the building.
Right.
I mean, I don't know when, our lease is, we extended the lease for 3 years, we're already a year into it. So anytime at some point, if you're going to build a building, it's gonna take 2 to 3 years from start to finish.
Yeah.
So now we're going to have to see if we can
Extend it.
extend the lease again.
And that's, Jessica, that's line 40, which is the facility expense. So that's the 57,500.
That's rent, utilities, and everything related to.
Tax, whatever.
Yeah.
All that
Yeah.
crap.
They call it triple net.
Yeah, the triple net.
It's the maintenance.
Plowing,
yeah,
mowing,
mowing,
everything.
and our portion of the tax.
Mhm.
Uh,
Just one
Which
more
if once we build a building, that you won't be paying taxes on a police station.
No.
Right.
I mean,
Towing, can we take that out?
So we don't tow unless it's, well, let me back up. We don't tow very often.
Yeah.
And if we do, the vehicle doesn't get released unless the owner pays for the tow. There was a case that we assisted another agency up north where they wanted a vehicle towed and we didn't get reimbursed, so I hate that, but that doesn't happen very often.
Yeah,
I think that's the first time in 8 years that I've
okay.
had to have an expense for towing.
Do you wanna keep that in there? Do you wanna budget that? Or you wanna just take it out and put it into something else?
I wasn't budgeting
Miscellaneous.
anything.
There's
for
nothing
towing.
budgeted, that
That was
was
just an
75.
That was an
expense.
actual last 2 years
That
ago.
was an expense that we
Okay.
incurred that, you know, we didn't, I guess we should have had them call for the tow truck, because we called for the tow truck. The bill came to us,
I was gonna say, we had to eat it.
and it wasn't fair to the tow company, and that actually was from 2 years ago, I think. Because he was like, hey, this was never paid, so.
Lesson learned.
I asked about your vehicle maintenance. You were at 5 or 4.5 last year, or the year before rather, and then we're only at 1,000 now. Are you thinking keep this? I know, obviously you've got newer vehicles, so hopefully less maintenance, less expense.
Say
but-
newer, one of them is, you know, I'm sure we're getting close to brakes
Yeah.
have to be replaced.
Yeah, so that's gonna
I've been trying to stagger it so I don't have to replace tires at the same time for all the vehicles.
be, yeah,
And it never works out. So this past year I had to buy tires for 2 vehicles, which was,
Okay.
you know, almost $2,000
Okay.
per vehicle.
I'd leave it.
yeah.
So,
That's fine.
yeah, and 2 of them are getting close to where it should be close to brakes are going to.
Okay, yeah, that's totally fine.
And there's a mouse chewed on a wire, which cost us $160.
Only that? No, that's cheap.
Well, I haven't got the tow bill yet.
Oh.
They thought it was gonna be under warranty,
Yeah.
so we had.
Well, the mouse aren't on their own.
Mice aren't under warranty, no.
So,
Did you arrest him?
if we found them, there would have been a different settlement.
And you arrest a mouse. Okay, any other
Like a
questions?
kid's book, right?
No, but Bruce, do you think the 20,000 in your capital equipment or capital
Vehicle
vehicle is
replacement.
gonna be enough over the next several years?
For the next couple of years, yeah.
Okay.
We've done a real good job of taking care of the vehicles, so at the end of their life cycle, they're worth more. And we've been I worked with 2 treasurers ago, we were supposed to be adding when we do governor highway safety, we get mileage reimbursement.
Put that in the capital.
Some of that will be moved to the capital vehicle equipment.
Okay.
So it's not a lot, but, you know,
Every little bit
300 or
helps.
400 a year there. If we get the same make of vehicle, we can reuse most of the equipment. Unfortunately, this time around, we got a different vehicle, so we had to buy. And maybe to a fault, I reuse the older equipment longer than most other places.
Mhm.
Well, I guess if it worked, then that's good.
Well, you can only drill so many holes into the
That's right.
metal, and then some people worry about liability, so they won't install it after the second time, and I'm like.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Understandable.
I
Okay,
try to save where I can.
no, that's great. And we appreciate that.
And I've been working this as much as I can, and Sharon's been all over me, reminding me to get this done. She's been great about that.
Good.
It's me that's falling behind on some of this.
You think your capital equipment, we're missing the actual for 23, 24, and you're almost to your limit for your actual 24, 25.
But I go, when I look at the capital equipment, I go to what's in there currently. This just tells us what we're putting in each year.
Right.
I don't know
Oh,
how
that's-
this one showed
okay.
up as an expense.
That's
but
the- that's
It
the
shouldn't show up
fund.
here. It shows up in the other fund that
Gotcha.
holds the
Yeah.
money.
So that 2649 shouldn't be there.
No, I
No,
think it goes
shouldn't
in here and then it gets moved to the reserve. We
Okay.
put in what's
I've never seen it in there.
Yeah.
So,
So
I
what's the
think it
expense?
works like the water does. They put in an amount
Mhm.
that goes into the water and then it gets
Yeah.
pushed to the reserve fund. I think this kind of works the same way, but.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, what's that? That's an expense. That's what was actually put in, or that's what's been put in so far?
That's what's actually been spent this.
Out of the capital
out of
equipment.
The capital
Yeah,
equipment
so I,
this year.
we have to look at it.
Yeah, these two are technically shouldn't.
Have expenses.
Have it
Correct.
posted on.
Because it should be coming out of the other fund where the balance is
Yes.
capital, or the fund is capital.
Yeah, and because it's police department, this would normally, if it wasn't the police department, it would be in our longer list of capital fund.
So
Balance.
ultimately, it comes out of the capital fund.
Correct,
So we're
yeah.
not,
Yeah,
That could.
as long as we have an explanation.
That was the new evidence program that we just purchased.
Oh,
I
okay.
know what that is.
all right, any other questions for Bruce?
You available tomorrow at 11?
Well, unless a call comes in.
Okay.
And you're handling it.
That's a not firm yes, okay, that's good, that's good enough for us,
That's right.
great, thank you, Bruce.
Thanks, Bruce.
You liked them, didn't you?
Very good.
Good.
Okay. Very good. You're up.
To your bank.
Who's the kayak was for Jordan, right?
What's that?
Who's the kayaking for Jordan Bridges? Who's on? Can't remember.
Doesn't say.
Oh, it doesn't say. It just
All right,
says-
hang on, I gotta, wait 1 second, let me look at my documents here.
Yeah, I was just gonna get on the lock docs.
Yes. Jordan, if you can hear us, we've approved the kayaking race, you're all set. You can give us a thumbs up or say, okay in the chat.
You could unmute him.
Oh, that's true, I could unmute. I forgot how much power I have.
Yes,
you're all-
thank you. Thank you very much.
No problem. The only thing we asked about was just the insurance, but Meredith said that's all taken care of, same as what you've normally done.
Yep, that's correct.
Okay, awesome. Thanks so much.
All right, thank you. Have a good night.
Yep, bye.
Strawberries are really good.
It'll start off your budgeting session on a good note. All right, let's open up this one. Let's see.
Like special Kellogg's.
That's okay.
Oh, the special K with their strawberries in them?
I'm not a huge fruit person, but if you freeze dry it, I'll eat it
No,
all.
I like.
I love that texture,
Just stay
right?
on.
If you freeze dried fruit.
I'll eat it
Yeah, if
all.
you're up, if Ian would bring your budget up.
He's stalling
No,
again.
I'm not.
Just throw a little water in there, it'll resorb them.
That's right.
Right.
That's what
It's a
happens in your
full,
mouth.
it's a full fruit.
That's right.
Get him in your belly and all of a sudden.
All right.
And if you don't like them, you don't have to finish them. I'll eat them.
Yeah, they got a little. Yeah.
She can't do
She
it.
doesn't even know where she doesn't even know where she is now.
Okay, let's go.
So I had a question for the miscellaneous.
Wait, why don't we let,
Okay,
Okay,
go over it first.
I just thought it was a
Meredith-
typo, that's what I was.
Oh, okay. Meredith, what do you want?
Alrighty.
Touch on?
Okay,
Any
so
highlights?
I do have a couple questions. One of the questions that I had, and Sharon, thank you, Sharon, for all the work that you've been doing with getting all these budgets together and cleaning them up. There's a Bristol Youth Center revenue and a teen center revenue and a Bristol Youth Sports, so I'm just a little confused on the Bristol Youth Center United Way grant. That's that should be moved over to the hub,
That's
right? Isn't that right?
Hub and Bristol Youth Center has been used interchangeably in the names
Okay,
when they were combined, so some of that, the names haven't changed to what we would change them to, but we'll get there.
So when you're saying.
Yeah, so
Bristol
some of the youth
you're
center
saying the hub,
or teen
not Bristol
center,
Youth Sports.
Yeah, they didn't use hub in any of the
Right,
naming,
and that's,
so.
and that was part of the conundrum too, is that there was some confusion in them, the youth sports and youth center, they're both youth, but they
And
aren't,
teen center,
but they aren't
yeah.
the same
The
thing.
apples and oranges.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we've actually had them come up Thursday to do some of this cleanup.
so would that mean that this is then added to this?
That one.
Is that correct?
I don't know.
That makes two of us.
There,
Okay.
so just a little bit about the budget for this. There is confusion only because things are.
Not what you're used to seeing.
Yeah, they're not used to, but they don't make sense. They're not under the right area.
Okay.
So, so those three things are just, I mean, the Bristol Youth Sports, yes, we brought in 14,950. We have the check that Eric Carter had given us that we barely have tapped into, but that's our like a resource for big equipment, as if we had to get like soccer goals, field hockey goals, any of those kind of sports stuff. So, you know, Bristol Youth Sports, feel confident about what's up there. But the other two, I can't answer for it right now until after we clarify that.
So Meredith, the town appropriation, that 11,000, that's from the other towns? That amount?
Yeah, so we
Okay.
get 9,500 from them, and this coming year, this next year, Aiden and I will be visiting all the towns and asking for a $500 increase from each town.
So you're asking for that, they're looking at that.
At their town meetings.
At their
Their
town
town
meetings,
meetings or their
not this
budget.
time, but the next year.
Oh,
Next year.
So that's why it's in for this coming.
So it'll be like March of 2026.
Yeah, and our idea is, we've taken on a lot of, like Lincoln or, Starksboro Sports. We help them out. We're trying to be like a nice little hub for a lot of the other little towns for
That's great.
registrations. And we're also using a lot more space. We've got pickleball in Moncton. We've got cheer at Moncton or New Havens, interchanging a couple of basketball youth programs with Starksboro. So they're starting to rely on us a little bit more, which is a bigger picture. Because honestly, I mean, if I had, my dream would be to get another staff member, and it wouldn't be the Bristol Recreation Department. It would be like the 5-town recreation or, well, I consider Lincoln, so.
Come on, don't cut Lincoln loose just
But
yet.
I don't
That's
think you
dreaming, that's
can you
dreaming.
budget
It
for
wouldn't
that
work.
this year though?
I'd honestly,
11 grand, can you budget for that? You're not gonna ask for it till,
I'm asking for, I have to start the process next year.
Right.
so you don't get that until the 26, 27 budget.
Oh, so I'm a little behind. So I'm.
I don't think you
jumping
can
the
put
gun.
that 11
Okay,
there.
so 95, sorry.
That's, I don't, that's why I asked, are you asking for it this month?
No,
Because-
no. So then we need to update that too.
Yeah,
So
did you hear-
that'll be for the.
Yeah, did you hear that?
yeah.
Sorry, what?
It needs to go back down to 9,500,
That 11 grand.
the
up
11
there.
grand, because she's not gonna be asking for it until 26,
Yeah, I
until
don't-
then for the 26, 27 year.
Okay, thank you.
Is it gonna create a problem asking for more money from these other towns when you're having events in their towns and they're gonna think that they're doing them? Or are you gonna make it very clear that,
Well, they're organizing.
Well, we
them.
order-
well, I understand that, but I'm taking my kid to Starksboro to Robinson to play basketball. I'm not, why am I paying for basketball in Bristol?
I mean, the appropriation, how long have you done the appropriation for? That's been for years.
Gosh, I mean,
Oh,
it's been grandfathered for me, yeah.
Yeah.
I think Darla,
Oh,
when,
Jerry, I remember first started. it.
yeah, but it was like.
But it was like
I think
pulling teeth.
changed it like 10 years ago.
It's
And
been
it
like
was
pulling
like
teeth.
pulling teeth.
It still is like one, two.
Yeah, it's gonna be exciting and a lot of work to
And
explain to each town the benefits of their support.
So Peter, you wanna have you to clarify that question, mostly for the audience and me, is, so you go to child's playing basketball in Starksville, but the parents doesn't know that that's being run through Bristol Youth?
That's my fear, is that they'll, why are we giving money to Bristol when we're running these programs in our own town?
Right,
And
so.
I know what you're after,
Yeah.
I'm just playing devil's advocate here.
Just to clarify, the Starkville does have their own sports program, youth sports program.
Mhm.
But, so every town, the 4 other towns get a residential rate. You know, we don't do the non-residential, so they get the savings the same as Bristol. Now, if they, you know, one of the things would be, that's a benefit. Or we would take you off the residential and you'd have to pay the non-residential rate. So if you wanna go swimming in the pool, and you're a Starksboro person, then you're gonna have to pay the $10 non-residential, which is a bummer. So that's why we still consider them as a residential, and that's, I think, the selling point when we ask for these appropriations from each town, these are the things that you get, this is the benefit. You get this, but also like our membership or our household accounts are 5,000, almost 6,000 folks, which is not just the 5 towns, but Huntsford, Virgins, all sorts. So if there's an event, say Lincoln Sports is like, hey, can you advertise this? I can send that out in the newsletter and it will reach a ton of people outside this area. And so that's a benefit for something that's happening in Lincoln or something that's happening in Starksboro.
So when you said this, the pool, like, do you have to pay a fee when you want to use the pool?
At this point, not right now. Yeah. If we were charged to use the pool, we'd have to up the price. We'd have to, right now it's $5 to swim for hours. You can get there at 8 and swim until you're all pruny and leave at 12 for $5. But if that changed,
I'm just saying.
then we would have to, but also with the pool, like, we had MAUSD upstairs, they have 5 or 4 events, and we sponsored their rental. In it, because they let us use the pool, so there's like kind of a hand in hand.
The Elder Eagles program?
Yeah, so the Elder Eagles program, you'll see the money in there, that's grant funded through the Community Foundation. It's actually a total of $5,000. There's a $3,000 grant and a $2,000 grant.
So are we adding this in here? Or the price
So
spot?
this was the first time I'd seen this line item, was
Good, because
a
it's
week ago.
down below at line 33 too, so I was trying to
Right.
figure out what.
One's a revenue, one's the expense, and the revenue was, so that came from grants to cover for Jackie and for some supplies, because every week they get food in their B group, so it's like $30 here, almost $30 consistently every week. So that was the first time I had seen the Bristol Elder Eagle program line.
It just got added this year.
So,
revenue.
yeah, for the revenue, for even the
For even-
expense
well,
too,
this
because the
is the first
expense, I was taking it right out of programs.
Okay.
But now, which is, it's nice to have it up there, so we put the $3,000 is from a grant.
Do we
The total
put that
is
in then?
5.
I mean,
Yeah, where he's got it highlighted here, should we put that in, $3,000?
5.
Or
Well,
five?
it's a total of 5
Yeah.
through 2
She
grants.
says there's a total of 5.
There is 5
There is
shown.
a note there.
There is a note, who knows where it is?
Do we,
There's 5,
There's funds, there's 2023, 2023,
2K.
24, 2K went in 24, 25, 3,000 went in.
so it's a different year.
Okay, so the first check came in August and the second check came in let's see here. May, no, one came in May and one came in August.
So
the one
they're
that
two
last
years.
year, yeah.
So am I
Yeah.
doing this
So-
then?
Yeah,
They're
we put it-
there, it's there,
It's
it's
already
two
there.
thousand and five and
Yeah.
3,000, so the
Yeah.
5 is there. that
It just
she's-
came in
that
two
she's
different
received.
tax years.
Came in August.
So I would leave it
The
the way it
3,000 was the latest one.
Because we're building a budget for
Yeah.
next year, July
Next
1.
year.
But
Do we
do
expect
we
any
put
more?
grant
Do we
funds
get
in there?
more?
With
2
this
years in a row.
program, I mean, the community foundation offered this to us. We didn't even have to dig for it, which was nice. And it's,
And it's money we get up front, so that's
Yeah.
why it's in.
Mhm.
But,
so
but,
it is
Do we
grant
do we
related,
budget a grant line item in here?
You
Yeah.
can't,
right?
we
I don't think you
can't,
can,
though.
because it's
Right.
not.
I mean,
We don't
just
budget
feel like
any of the
waving
other
magic
grants.
wand,
No.
right?
So the
That's
thought
good.
is, we do have to, we need to keep this
Right.
program alive. It
Oh,
does
yeah.
benefit. There's 15 people who show up every Friday on these.
Right.
So yeah, so
Well, so do you want to add, I mean, yeah, do you
charge anything?
To that too.
no, it's all,
It's
it's,
all-
yeah.
I'll ask the question, and should we remove the 2 and the 3 and put that under grants down below? We just telling ourselves we're not putting grants in there, but we did in 23, 24 and
Well,
24.
we didn't,
25.
they just
Well, no,
redid
they
it.
just put that in there.
You just redid it. That
They
wasn't,
took the 5 out of somewhere else?
no,
No,
they just redid
the budget.
the budget, the categories.
That wasn't even, yeah, the Elder Eagle program wasn't even a line item, but now it's in there. To budget it, to
We gotta
cover
budget
costs
the
and stuff, it
expense.
should be, like,
Yeah, cause that's where Jackie goes.
yeah, so, I mean, $2,000 in that spot
right,
is probably
I guess I wanna know is the 143,991 for recreation revenue.
I can't,
Is there 5 of that now down below 2? Is there $5,000? Should that be 41,000 instead of the 2 being 0 under Elder Eagle?
Well, we don't know how much carried over, like how much has been spent.
Well, my guess is this is our budget
Mhm.
and then this is our actuals. I imagine those actuals are incorrect.
I would agree.
I don't, because that's a heck of a
That's a
difference.
big number.
Yeah.
I know, that's what I was saying.
Double
I
the,
circled that
double the-
one, there's
yeah.
another one that's just like really
I can't
outside.
read it either.
You can't read that?
Not even.
Hang on.
Says
What's the note say off?
I can't even read the number.
143,000 when we budgeted 63 in revenue.
And what does the note over on the right-hand side?
They
It
did say
says-
they take
it just
out
says
3
to
grand.
Take out the grant money.
It says.
So that whole revenue, before, we had swim as a separate line item, and now it's bundled into there.
Which is fine, because it's a
Mhm.
program.
Program's a program.
Well, so let's highlight this one,
Yeah.
just to
Check
look
it.
at that, yeah. I think that's fine, I mean, we don't wanna get bogged down by that now.
I mean-
I mean, so for that particular one, we're budgeting. Last year was 69, so it's a little bit higher than the previous year, and we're so far at 36 or 37 right now.
Yep.
And we've got another 6 months to go.
So that's where
You're
you're coming up
comfortable with
with 7.
75?
Yeah, because, when I run the numbers,
You bring in more in the spring than you do in the fall?
Can you see those now?
yeah, so what's gonna happen is February 1st is the open date for our summer camp.
I already have it in my planner.
And
know.
the big
You
money,
gotta write it
the the big summer camps start after July 1st, so swim starts July 7th.
But most of the money comes in before the budget.
Yeah, and so that goes into, what is it called?
Unearned
Unearned
income,
income.
because we have to have a place to put it, so it's not
Deferred income.
reflected in this year, and it's
Yeah,
Okay,
reflected in next year.
so that, if you get 30,000 for summer program, let's just play out this. That won't go make that 66, because you can't, it's
It's
not
next
used until
year.
July.
That's
right?
right, it's next year revenue.
Yeah, and it's about,
I just threw that.
yeah,
number
I mean,
out.
mountain biking itself brings about 12 grand, 15, it's about 18 grand probably.
Go ahead, Chris.
So that may be what we're bumping into when you look at the number disparities there. That 143, a portion of that may be revenues that were recognized in 23, 24.
Oh,
That should have been deferred into 24, 25.
okay.
That's
It's
what I was
still
gonna
not
ask.
Double.
Still, right,
Yeah.
but still maybe some of that maybe it goes in
Yeah.
each one.
So,
okay,
We have to go with that.
yeah,
Yeah,
that would be
That's a
my,
definitely.
that's my gut, is why those two, there's a disparity.
There's such a big discrepancy, yeah.
Cause it'd be, I'd like to know, and we can't see it right here, but what we had in actuals as of, December 31st, 2023, if it was close to 36, or if maybe only 20,000.
Right, just to see if this year's the same or
Say,
different.
boy, something got screwed up.
Yeah, I mean, just if I run the numbers for all budget groups that we brought in since July 1st,
Have you got
2024,
the, have you got the
I have
town report?
$76,000.
I can get
Because that'll have that'll have the,
What's last year's actual was.
yeah,
Do you want one of Ian's mints or something?
The hard part you can have on that one is that the revenues are split out across multiple
Years.
programs.
Mhm.
Well, all the programming has been, a lot of it's been pulled, we rolled them into one revenue line, or revenues revenue. The program revenue is program revenue. Swimming, the only thing that's broken out is pottery, it's a standalone
Right,
contract beast. But other than that, whether it's swimming, whether it's
So,
basketball or whatever, program, Tai Chi is a program.
I mean, just to give you an idea, so the platform that I use, MyRec, I can bring up what we brought in from July 2023 to June 30th, 2024.
Mhm.
Just pottery studio revenue, $28,246. So if I go and check out rec department revenues, it comes out to 60,000.
60.
And then just for swim, because I have it broken out into each budget group, and swim brought in about 15,000. So 75. So we're wrapping up swim into the rec program revenues.
With the 75.
Right, that sounds a lot better. 143 was like,
Well, then if you take that 30 or
Mhm.
28, 2.
2020, 22, 23.
Well, you can't put the 28.2 in there because that's pottery and that's separate.
22, 23, the actual in December of 23 was 32,000.
okay. Yeah, so something.
So you see, we're
Yeah, with that.
We're
putting $4,000 between the 36 if we think that's right.
Yeah.
That's where I was trying to come up with, not that 143. I think that's so far off. It's,
Mhm.
I mean,
One other typo that I think I saw, if you want to highlight it in yellow
Sure.
too, is miscellaneous expense.
Yeah, I don't know.
Did you see that one
Oh,
too?
yeah,
It was-
yeah.
where is that?
That is something that, I don't know what the 4,000.
No, we don't have lines on ours, so.
Right there, 34. See, 4,280.
The note says miscellaneous and liability insurance.
Oh, do you think insurance got added into that?
And it shouldn't.
Well,
it
it's the
shouldn't, but-
previous year, so these are, there's no insurance in this right now,
Okay.
because I just got the numbers today, and that's if you notice, I think it's a previous year number, so I don't know what got rolled into there.
I know, because it goes from like 400 to like 4,000.
Yeah,
So
I don't
something
know
was
what
in
that is.
there.
So something was rolled in there,
Right,
and unfortunately, Rec Hub
that
and
was 34, yeah. there you go.
some of the numbers are a little skewed,
It wasn't
so.
down payment for the van or anything, was it?
No, the
No.
van's taken care of, ARPA money's. I don't know, I didn't charge
Yeah,
anything.
I just
for that.
noticed it was
So for
weird.
so for pottery, you actually brought in 30.
Yep.
And then our next year's budget was 17, you're bringing in 16 now. From now until the end of the financial year, you're gonna have a bunch of classes.
Yeah, we've
Okay.
got 2 more sessions of,
Okay. So probably maybe around the 30, maybe a little bit less than the 30. And
Well, we
you,
only
Yeah, I think we
budgeted
could
17
probably-
though.
no, I know.
Oh, yeah.
But we're looking over at the budget 2025.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just curious. I mean, this was a huge jump, but we budgeted 17, but we've almost brought in 17 right
so
now.
I mean, I can,
Do you think it's gonna be more than 20? I mean, we're trying to increase your revenue if you think your
yeah, I
revenue's
would,
gonna be
you
there.
know what,
25?
after looking at it, yeah, I would go 25 because every day there's somebody that's.
Yeah.
So now we know
Okay.
what's happening with the formula.
This is my typing. And then the youth sports, this 23 includes the 11, correct? Which was that
The
initial
money
transfer?
from, yeah, we got from.
Okay, so that's why you're dropping this down. Because it's like you're not gonna have that
Didn't we
much.
put that in the fund?
Yeah, it's just,
You never created a specific fund for Bristol Youth Sports, you have a recreation fund.
it's got its own separate
it has
account,
its
its own
line
separate
item,
checking
yeah.
account. if I remember.
No.
Bristol Youth Sports is part of the
Not
general
here.
fund.
Mhm.
I
Yeah, it's part of
wanted
the
it
general fund.
to be separate just for transparency.
I thought we
When I
had-
brought
I
it to
thought
the
we-
table, that's what
I thought we
You
had
had
it as a
asked?
separate
Oh, you
account.
I think we're writing it down
You
the same
can't
checkbook.
create reserve funds, that you can ask the voters to create reserve funds for you.
No, I don't mean a reserve fund. I thought when it came in, we left it in.
But
the
we're
No,
tracking
account.
because football has the checking account
Oh.
still.
Is there-
We do
Oh.
not.
Okay.
and we do not do football.
Which is fine. I mean, I don't think we need to. I think that's part of our issue before is that monies would come in and then we'd create new funds and new lines and then it just got unmanageable.
We didn't ask to create a,
We did.
We do have
It's
an,
different though. It wasn't for youth sports specifically. It was a recreation and equipment fund, reserve fund. We didn't do
Right.
that. And you'll
and
see
it
that on
was
the list
voted,
this
yep, and
year.
it was 10,000.
Yeah,
But we are tracking. Not
Correct.
so much about having a separate check.
correct.
Right, that's
Oh,
right.
yeah, for
Yeah.
BYS, I tracked.
We could
I tracked
run an
the
Emmerich, any
expenses,
report,
yeah.
and that'll be specific, as
Right.
long as it's coded properly. You'll see exactly what youth sports is where it's going.
And how
so
we,
that, so
We're
that
building-
$11,000 we got is just gonna get rolled into, actually it did. It's already no. Yeah, it's already
Well, not in
happened.
the budget, it didn't.
It just got rolled into the unassigned funds.
Right, right.
Right.
But we know where it's supposed to go,
Well, no.
right?
It's not the way it works.
So,
So,
we've
well,
taken-
yeah, so I think I mean, that's a decision we need to make. If we want that money to stay with that, we need to ask.
That it be put into the Bristol, the rec club, whatever,
Rec department.
We could,
Bristol Youth
we
Sports.
can put it into your equipment fund
right?
and you can earmark it.
Bristol Youth
That,
Bristol
Sports.
Youth Sports.
Bristol
Yeah,
Youth
because we already,
Sports.
we did that reserve fund.
All right, so
last
you're
year.
saying we would put that, okay, so the.
If you wanna keep that, you, cause you said you want that $11,000 to be used for bigger equipment. Right now, if it doesn't get spent, it goes into the unassigned funds and then we decide.
Yeah,
It's
Where it's
already
going.
there.
Yeah,
It's
it's already
already
It's
there.
right, it's already there, so if it wants to be in that equipment fund, we have to ask the voters to put the unassigned, that amount of the unassigned funds into that account.
I mean,
in
that would be
equipment.
fine. The way how we try to do the Bristol Youth Sports is what you bring is what you get to spend. So
Mhm.
you can't cover the shirts, then we need to up the price for the BIS. But if equipment is needed, in a sense of goals or what have you, that gets pulled out of the equipment line. So if it was to build onto the equipment line, BYS into that, I think that would be
How you use
clear.
it.
Well, if we don't do it that way, then
Then that
you're gonna
means-
have to put in the budget for that,
Yeah,
in your budget for
that
equipment.
$11,000 has vanished.
Right.
And if.
But we can give you another
We
11,000.
can, yeah.
If we
can give
have
you-
it.
It's been moved to the capital.
Right.
No, it's in the general
It's
fund.
General fund.
General fund, unassigned.
Unassigned
Funds.
fund balance.
Right,
Is that, Chris, Sharon, does that make sense? What's being discussed?
What we're talking about.
Yeah.
to move it to the capital account. Okay.
So
We'd have
the
to-
equipment account, and then rec will manage it from their end, what they
Right.
do with it.
Is it exactly 11 or it's 11 and change? I mean, I can find the number,
No, the check, there's a check, I can't remember how much. it
Yeah, I
is.
can't remember what
And
it
that's
was.
I
an
thought it was
article.
13 Something, but it
Yeah.
might have been
That's gonna be
11.
an article, yeah.
I
We
probably have a
already
copy of
got,
it.
figure, we already got a,
We had the fund, but to fund the fund, we have to ask.
For unassigned funds.
For
Yeah, if they move
unassigned.
unassigned funds into it, you would have to ask.
it got put in undersigned.
Yeah, we'll just
funds
make it an
until
article.
July 1st.
Yes. So if we want rec to keep it, we have to ask the voters to
To put that
move
money
it
in there.
to the capital.
Yeah, we'll just add it to our list that we usually have.
Exactly.
That we may not do this year, but we'll see. We can do that.
Mhm.
All right, we've been talking a lot about the
The
revenue.
revenue
Let's talk
side.
about the expenses.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have two questions.
Yep.
Training, I see it's up 50%.
Correct.
What's the additional training? that
So
you think
with
you're
the
gonna need?
additional training, with all the other sports that we're bringing on, so training also, that would be covering if we had to do a coach that needed to do first aid,
Yeah.
CPR.
Mhm.
Chainsaw class for Parks and Rec, for the park part. And then, training for any of the, Vermont Parks and Recs conferences
Mhm.
as well.
Okay.
Cause that's a lot of, that's a pretty big training.
Yeah.
And with just trying to be more aggressive and active with our training.
Mhm.
Cause we are growing.
And
And the second question?
what's the mileage? I mean, who
The
gets-
mileage, yeah, I'll tell you why. I didn't write my mileage down when I was running around to the parks. Aiden does, and he drives a vehicle to all the parks every
Mhm.
Friday. So he writes his mileage down.
Okay.
Before that, I wasn't, you know,
I just wasn't sure what mileage we were
Yeah.
paying, that's why I was asking.
Is,
it's his personal truck driving around. to all the
Yeah.
parks.
no,
Yeah,
No, that's okay.
is 164102 actual, or is that got miscoded? We spent that kind of money last,
No.
2 years ago?
I don't know what that is going on there.
Another one.
$1,600?
Another
There
I'm
was
assuming-
nobody driving then, right?
No, I don't know that mileage.
Another one we wanna find the answer to?
Yeah,
I was to
Cause
guess,
I was gonna up it, it's 300 enough?
yeah, I would have to guess.
Should we go 500 there? We're
No,
at 247 now, should we go 400 there?
Yeah, I didn't
Sure.
expect that,
Go ahead,
we'd be
Sharon.
driving so much.
Mhm.
No, I'll have to look and see what went there. I think
Some,
something to do with your van,
yeah,
Mhm.
but I'd have to look and see what actually was coded to that.
So maybe it needs to go into the van expense versus.
Probably,
yeah,
it
Right.
could be. yeah.
The 1,600, but not is the 247 accurate?
247.
I would say that's accurate. And I
So-
just not knowing, now that we've been taking records of the mileage to all the parks. Yeah, it jumps up, because also we do a run to the dump, like every other month. so. Yeah, I guess, I mean, honestly, if we're at 247 and Aiden just started in September and we've really been, we probably do have to bump that up to $500.
So in the Elder Eagle program expense, that's all part of the grant?
No, that's,
133.
what's showing there is
Jackie's.
Jackie's time. That's payroll.
I thought
That's
the
going
grant
to
paid
that
for
number.
that.
So the grant's supposed to pay
But
for
you gotta
that,
have an expense line.
You gotta have an expense line to put it to.
and it
I
also,
don't, I see, I have a hard time with this because if we're not supposed to put the grant revenue in, how can you put out an expense that's paid for by the grant?
I think you should put the grant. That's,
So if you don't get it, if
figure
you,
it's just like.
you're gonna have to fund it.
I
The
agree
problem
with
is,
that.
if you put a number in
I
that
agree.
revenue line, well, yeah, it's not, if you don't get it, it's gotta come from somewhere else.
Right.
If you put a number in the expense line and you don't get the grant, it's still gotta come from
Right.
somewhere else.
yeah, and if I ran out of money, I would, first place I'd take it from is programs. And this, the 616, I mean, that is kind of an odd number for payment. It could also be, well, I honestly, I haven't budgeted any, I have personally haven't coded anything to Bristol Elder Eagles, so that must be.
No, but that's where Jackie's time goes.
It's
I
not
do the
all her
full
time,
programs.
right?
She does
Every time I
programs
do.
time.
Is that all her time?
No,
Does
it's
it all-
only 7
That, I was
hours.
gonna say, it's only a portion of her
Whatever
time.
it is a week that she spends on Bristol Elder Eagles,
5
the rest
hours.
of her time goes to the hub.
Between 5 and 8 hours. it
Five.
seems like.
5 hours.
Yeah.
8 hours is for the hub.
No, between
No.
5
Is that
and
what
8
you said?
hours. Between 5 and 8 hours.
Meredith just said 5 hours. Meredith, you said 5 hours?
Hold on, we're getting multiple hours. What did you say, Chris? 5 to 8?
Between 5 and 8 is what I see on her time.
Okay, yes, exactly.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
For just Elder Eagles.
Just
The
there's-
rest of her time is hub.
Yeah, and it fluctuates, depends on the speaker that she has to prepare for.
Or if she actually taken them somewhere too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, just kind of because we were in that expense area about the van,
Oh, yeah.
$5,000 for the van, that is tires, oil change. If, you know, I haven't coded any insurance to that, but that's to cover operations of the van.
Yep.
Printing, training, advertising, I've lowered a bunch of this
Yeah.
because we do a lot of in-house.
Right.
Yeah, which is great.
Supplies. Yeah, we did a big order, so we're pretty chill right now for that.
Okay.
I upped the program, just because we're just adding more programs and I'm spending more
Okay.
there.
Yeah, well, that hopefully means the revenue side comes in
Yeah.
too, so.
Yeah. Events are good, fees. Swimming, yeah.
Is that 11,195.57 the number of the check?
No, the check was something, it
seemed
wasn't
odd.
that, but that
Yeah,
does
this
seem.
is an expenditure.
Mhm.
We haven't run.
Yeah, but I was just thinking maybe it's the right number.
We haven't really up the facilities yet this year. There's no line there, no money there. Yeah. Facilities run line 46.
Oh, I don't know why that's not, the facilities
isn't
have been
revenue.
rented out, I mean,
That's
since
right, 'cause we're sorry.
July.
It's not revenue, I'm sorry. It's-
Yeah,
Pay to rent school.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
for the school.
yeah,
For the
because
gymnastics and
that's
that.
just in case, we have to pay, I worked very hard to not have to pay rent, that was awesome, because they were charging quite a bit.
The school was? Oh.
And nobody else was paying rent,
Right.
and that's what, that was.
Okay, I'm gonna
It's
ask about
programming for their
ask about the
students, so.
fountain. I know Mr. Clark maintains
Yeah,
it.
so the fountain just popped up on there too, so,
The Fountain's been there, but
Yeah.
it's a small line.
Right, but does he, I know he donates his time. Does he donate all the supplies and that he
No,
uses, or
he-
do
he-
we?
We paid for the motor the last time from our,
Oh,
yeah, the pump.
Mhm. So does that line normally have a budgeted line, or do we?
No,
Mhm.
that was,
Where does it usually come out of then?
I think that's the first time since I've been here that we've paid.
Actually
any
paid for
supplies
something?
yeah, I didn't know there was a fountain fee, or if, when in doubt, I always just take it out of town green if it's something on the town green.
Yeah.
Do you feel like the maintenance category is enough? Because like, I know you had to stain the playground structure. Like, do you feel like you have enough funds to maintain everything you have?
Yeah, let's, we do that in-house, we stained it in-house, and Bobby Stoddard, that's in kind, he does that for free because that's his staple, I guess, of town.
And then I have a question about the farmer's market. There's a note in there that says includes farmer markets, $20 per month and extra
20.
pickups.
59, right?
Oh, yeah, remember, so they created so much trash, right,
Mhm.
on Mondays that they needed to get, an extra garbage can out here.
Well, that's what was my question is, shouldn't that be the farmer's market expense? Not,
Now we have to bill them back.
do we bill them? I mean, they're eventually supposed to be self-sustainable, so to me, they should be paying for that extra pickup.
They are.
I've
How
never
does
seen
it-
any
how does it
transfer
work?
of money, I've never seen it.
No.
It was new this year.
Mhm.
We looked at, not we, but Core looked at other avenues to try to do the trash. And I made the suggestion that we add an extra trash and recycling to the towns, because that was it's just really difficult to do anywhere around here that could do the
Right.
trash. And so essentially it was added on to the town's trash, and then the town keeps track of that and then bills Core, and then Core will pay.
Sounds like from the people who do the billing, it hasn't been billed.
No, and the extra trash cans were $20 a month, so then you're splitting hairs on, we have an extra pickup during the week. I don't know if all the trash that's in the park, actually, all of it comes down here from the farmer's market. So do you charge part of that fee that we pay for that extra pickup?
What's the extra pickup fee? $20?
No, just having the trash cans out here is
Bins
$20 a month. The extra pickup fees are twice a week. Normally, we get picked up once a week in the winter time. In the summertime, we do twice a week. And they do the park, but how do you, right now, they're all going to the park. I don't know if Bristol Core is bringing all their trash down here and putting them in these trash cans. I have no idea.
They are.
So if they are, then we're charging them only $20 a month. If they aren't, then they should be paying for part of whatever.
The extra pickup.
Sure.
The extra pickup in the park.
Yeah.
But
No, Core is happy to pay. I mean, it's part of it. It was just, and they would have done another trash division if there was one. We looked around, but there really isn't. There was nothing that could easily be done that wasn't it's not even that it wasn't a matter of cost. It was just the availability of where to put trash cans for a weekly thing. The town had the space to be able to do it. We said, can we try it this year? Of course, they could try it this year. So I'm that amount's very small. I'm sure if it was higher, it would be totally fine. Like that's part of growing that. It was just the location was the easiest thing to do and the only thing that was available.
Yeah, no, and I have no problem with that, just as long as we have the process.
Yeah.
So Sharon knows, okay, what am I supposed to be
Yeah.
billing? Who am I supposed to be billing? How to do
Yeah.
it?
Well, somebody just heard
Yeah.
He already did it. I watched his hand move.
Yeah.
What Jimmy do?
And I'm happy to put that in like in base camp as a reminder. And we were kind of doing that with the trash cans anyway. So we could put the billing reminder in there.
So when the farmer's market started around the 1st of May, 1st of June.
1st of June.
1st of June, we started going twice a week pickup.
No,
No,
the
we started
twice a week
before that.
has
We-
always
we-
been a
we've been
town
doing that.
thing, and we've been doing it for years.
For the summer, yeah.
For the summer, yeah. The farmer's market, the additional 2 trash cans was a new thing that happened this year to deal with the amount of trash that the market brought in that evening.
So
So
they
the
bring
idea,
after Monday night, they bring those
Correct.
things back down on the main street?
down here.
they either collect the trash from the town trash cans that are on the park, which are a couple, and they collect trash from vendors who put out trash cans, and they bring them all down and they put it either in the recycling or the trash in those 2 extra bins. And so hopefully by the end of Monday, if you go there on the park on Tuesday, all the trash cans should be empty. That was the idea. And that trash sits here until it gets picked up at the end of the week. And Core pays for that ability to have those 2 trash cans there.
Well, they have the ability, but they haven't paid it yet.
No.
They have
But they haven't
the
been billed, we don't know what
Right.
the bill.
Yeah, well, the bills, if we're only charging them for the extra bins, it's probably $60 because we didn't get the extra bins until like July.
$60 a month?
No,
No.
$20 a month, so it's like 3 months worth.
Yeah, it's a very small amount. I mean,
Yeah,
Cora
it's not-
happily pay more for the convenience of having the trash right here.
Well, I think then, starting June 1st, they should be billed, $20 or $30 a month.
Sure.
Well, that also brings a point when we discussed vendor rental on the town green. And starting July 1st, we should charge for groups using the town green because
trash
the water's being used, the electricity's being used. I sent, before Valerie left, I sent her a draft of what we had discussed last time we had met. And it would be a minimum of 25 unless there was like a lot of drain on the power.
This is the vendor ordinance? Yeah. Yeah, we
Yeah,
can,
vendor
remember that.
application.
Yeah, I do
Yeah.
remember it.
And I think putting that in with the rental, we have Howden Hall, facilities rental, Howden Hall, Holly Hall.
Mhm.
And I think we should just add in
Agreed.
the town green onto that.
has there been no charge at all for
I
any?
charged a group that had the alcohol on the town green. It was $50.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, anytime that there's alcohol, there's
That's-
it's always a mess. So.
Yeah. So we need to obviously bring that ordinance discussion back, or
Yeah.
policies, or whatever it's, we're classifying it
Yeah,
as.
and
just to sort
Chris
it out.
was helping me with that.
Okay, great.
There's a couple more things that we could totally add.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. And I think, most groups will have the ability to pay that.
Electricity, water.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because,
to pay that
the
fee.
Harvest Festival, 4th of July.
Yeah.
And if it's like
Those are the big
$25,
ones.
I mean, that covers the electricity and the water for that day.
Okay.
Yeah, but
I
maybe
think
you
it's a
add more in that
policy,
to
not an
cover for the.
ordinance.
Oh,
for their-
For the-
Because an
for the
ordinance
garbage
requires.
I mean, yeah, honestly, I mean, they would be willing to
I'm
pay
just-
50.
no,
especially when
thinking
they're
it through.
charging
Yeah.
vendors.
Right.
Would you do, so, I mean, we can get to that later, would you do larger, depending on the size of the event, would you scale that cost, or is it just a flat fee depending on?
Yeah, so that's what we were trying to figure out, like, what is the appropriate way of going about that?
I mean, I can see, okay, I'll pick,
4th of July,
well, no, that's a big one.
that's a big one.
Harvest Fest, good.
Because you have
Well, Harvest
Let's
Fest
take-
is- yeah,
November 11th, the Boy Scouts come down, do that.
Yeah.
They're gonna use the park.
Mhm.
Not gonna, you know. not gonna turn the water-
Joel's
I'm
picked a
just-
difficult one, no, I know.
No,
just
you
the
see what
voice-
I'm saying
yeah.
with that?
Yeah.
But
But
I
it's
don't,
a
so this
small-
is the thing, they clean up the park. Every event that they do, they
Mhm.
clean up after themselves. How
And-
can we
and
justify?
before
That's what I'm
charging
saying,
for it? Yeah.
that's what I'm saying,
Well,
not-
And they're not making money, it's the
Yeah.
groups that are making money, 4th
Right.
of July is charging vendors.
We should
Bristol
break that
Harvest
in,
Fest.
like the for-profit use of the green.
Yeah.
And that's,
Well,
yeah,
Harvest Fest is a nonprofit group that's running it. They're making money, but it's the, what's the group that I'm gonna write
the Addison County Chamber of Commerce,
Chamber.
but they're also, it's our partnership, it's also our event.
it? Right, so that's
But
where it gets,
But we only get 10% of what they get from vendors,
right.
so.
They still charge vendors.
They still charge
No, what I'm
vendors.
saying is just not delineating between profit and
Right,
nonprofit.
Or you can
Yeah.
say community groups or something you don't charge the Boy Scouts to
Well,
put up
what
the
would happen
flags.
is with the Boy
You
Scouts.
make money on the park.
You would make it Meredith's discretion, and if there was an
Right.
in-kind
Yeah.
donation, i.e. they're gonna clean
That's
up
why I
after
picked
themselves, then you could waive it for in-kind services.
That's why I said the Boy Scouts.
Yeah, cause I mean,
You know, they reserve it with you for November 11th for
Yeah.
Veterans Day.
they
Have
do a
their
little
ceremony.
brownies and such, yeah.
Yeah.
But they also, they're very good
That's why I
stewards of the
picked that one, it would be
property.
a hard one, I said.
Mhm.
Well, we'll
Okay.
get there for the 4th of July.
I had a
We're just
question.
That one,
Cut and dry.
I had a question for pottery rent
Yeah.
and teen center rent. I wasn't sure why there was volatility, like you sign a rent agreement with them, right? So you know what it is each year. So like for the rent, we budgeted 9,300, 600, but then we actually paid 10,140
That
so
must-
last year for pottery, there was an increase,
in the middle of our fiscal
Yeah,
year.
we had-
Somebody
Okay,
else bought the building.
yeah.
okay,
And they
okay,
put a percentage on there.
okay.
And we're locked in on that rate for the next 2 years.
Mhm.
The 9360 or the 10?
The 10, the higher, right?
I think
So
it's
that
the-
93 should go to 10.4 or 10.2?
Yeah,
Yeah, it
Yeah, it
should,
should
because
be
look how
10
much
too.
has already been
You're
spent.
50.
cause you're already,
Right,
At 54.
and then I just had the same question
I
for the
said
rent.
10.2
on the
is
teen
The
should
center.
rest, they're
10.8.
keeping it the same.
Okay,
Yeah, we are
10.9.
so is it,
it's
but
6,
what do you really pay? Cause it's like 7,200.
7,800. We have a lease with them.
It's like 600.
It's
600
600, I think it's
600 a month.
600 a month.
Six something.
Yeah, I
Or
think it's
650.
6,
6 or
650.
650.
It's
Well,
between
why
6
do
and
you
6.
want-
I don't know.
Yeah, we haven't changed it in.
Line 78. I know,
I've
I
been
just
trying
think
to
it
tell
should be
them
the
to change
same,
it.
right? Like if the rent
You know
doesn't
how much
change, it should always be the
we-
same, and it's
You're
not.
trying to
Okay.
calculate
The rent-
something there.
Okay.
Ian?
You know,
So we don't need to
You
be
keep
charging
changing the
them,
10.
cleaning up after
No,
everybody.
yes, I got it now. Doubling what we pay so far.
What's up here, 78?
That
Well, it
sounds
goes-
correct.
Yeah, 72, but we only paid 600, 637, then it's 78, which looks like we'll get there.
I'm not sure why that's,
72, we pay 600 a month.
650.
Yeah.
I know, isn't that weird?
That's
There's
78.
something.
78, 650.
Unless
was
you
there a
got a
leap year? No, it doesn't
discount
matter.
or, yeah, like a discount or something.
It's in the pay orders. Last month it was.
That was
Last
all my
week.
questions.
skate park food and equipment, I think Taylor had put that in, I think she's fine with that. Town Friends of the Arts expenditures.
Not really sure what that is. It was like a one-time thing, it
Yeah.
looks like.
Yeah, it looks like it was a.
Or Holly. Maybe should we find out what,
It was before. I don't have to figure it out. right?
yeah, it is.
$119.
You may not wanna know, but I wanna know.
The skate park food and equipment, is that, I know sometimes they have grant funds for food.
Yeah.
Is that what?
Consistent grant for that, but I remember Taylor wanting to make sure it's kept there just in case of
Not getting the money.
not getting the grants. We've been really well supplied through the United Way, but
So the actual 4101 last year, most of that was paid for from the grant. But the grant wasn't in the revenue.
yeah,
Yeah.
See, this is the thing I have a hard
it's
time
very
doing.
hard.
Because you don't have, you don't show the revenue coming in, but you're showing the expense.
What does Darlene say about that? Has she said anything about doing grant revenue and then expenses? Is there a way for us to,
We can ask her on Thursday.
I guess I would.
hang on, Bill.
I mean, these are, most of the time, these grant monies are monies we know we have,
Yeah,
that we can charge against. It's different when you don't
When you don't know.
I know.
when you don't know.
Right.
So when you get it in, then you put it to that account, so I have to ask her.
Yeah,
Could I ask the question that if we got a $5,000 grant and we get it all the time and just finished up the year in July 1. See, okay, that grant came in and we can put it in this year's budget because it's like we're holding it now. Can you do that? I'd like to ask Darrell that question. You got a grant, beginning of the year or the end of the year, can you put it in for next year's budget? Because now you've got it, physically got it.
Should be a year beyond.
Yeah.
You're a year behind that grant.
no, because technically, we're a town where if we apply for money,
It should be on the books.
it should be on the books immediately.
And it has.
We're
to be
an
done.
accrual town,
Okay.
so it's.
You see where I'm going with
Yeah,
that?
if like if we invoice for something, we already have the money, it's in our account, even though technically it's not in our account. No, I know, it's scary.
Oh,
You know, my dad used to say, figures don't lie, but liars can figure.
Anything else? Teen center expenses,
I think Taylor had pretty much gone through that when she was
Okay.
set the other day.
So the budget's up 7.22 or 2.87?
well,
We're not quite sure.
No,
again,
will they ever be there, Peter?
yes, it's the idea.
Probably won't be Joel.
I mean, I don't mean that to.
No, we're
But
We're
that-
another year
but that
full.
budget
You
column
guys
is
don't know
actually,
labor,
we're
it's
pretty
pretty
full.
good
You're
with
doing great
that.
work.
It's pretty full.
Yeah.
Hard to.
Labor's not there yet, is
No.
it?
No,
No.
No.
It's in a different spreadsheet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So are we gonna,
So Ian, go back up a little.
Sure.
You've got a line that you took the numbers out. What was there?
Where?
I
Which line?
can't read it.
58,
56.
Maintenance.
No, it's me.
Where? What are you talking about?
Maintenance.
Line
is still-
56 under account.
Count. What'd you do with the numbers?
nothing, that was what
Nothing,
was
that's-
Didn't touch
there.
it.
That's the way it was.
No, there was a number there.
No,
Under
I haven't
actual?
touched this.
under actual?
It was just the actual, hasn't been calculated.
There's no actual in there.
Yeah. No, I haven't done anything to this. I've only
Which
looked
one
at
is
it.
it?
So it looks like most of the column for F is filled in though, right?
Yes.
Good.
Yeah, Sharon and I had gone through that pretty well in that sense of.
So the you got, now that we're talking about 56, 55 is mowing maintenance. I'm not sure what that, I know what mowing means. I'm assuming that means landscaping, raking, whatever, cleanup. What's the other maintenance line?
That isn't us. Anything you see that we put in there starts with an account number.
Yeah.
That's pulled right out of Nemrick. There is no,
There's no number there.
that's
Under
right.
maintenance, there's no number.
Somebody.
That's why she's asked,
somebody-
that's why Sharon's
That's
asking.
what happened. Somebody was
I know.
typing on that line when they thought they were typing somewhere else.
Cause we have the maintenance and mowing, and then we have what is non-maintenance for town parks, if that's.
Is that
what
like
we're under.
repairing the benches? Or is that going to the mowing maintenance line?
No,
Gosh.
that's some other,
Yeah.
no, when you're doing the benches or
Okay.
we're cleaning, it's not mowing, there's a number of different things that go. There was
Prepping
two
the
separate
soil.
lines,
getting-
yeah.
Getting
Okay,
them all.
so on the
Marks is
version
always-
I have, doesn't have a number on it, so, yeah, so whatever.
It
We'll
happened
have to
before the
fix, we'll have to
meeting.
fix
Yeah.
that line.
When I say I looked at this, I looked at it, but I also did the formatting to make it.
So it's
But so-
5,000, right?
Mhm,
And
5,000, yeah,
there's another one that was 10,000.
that's the one above it.
Yeah.
That's the mowing
I guess-
maintenance.
Yeah.
We gotta look under
Yeah.
actual $4,341, what those go to, what do those bills go to?
Well, Chris.
Well, that's probably the porta potty
No, porta potty was somewhere else.
somewhere else.
Yeah, porta potty
Because
take right out of
Sycamore
Sycamore
Park
Park.
is right there by itself.
So what
Okay.
happens, Sharon,
Oh,
what
is that
happens
what port is? I couldn't figure it out. I'm
Sycamore
like, is there a
Port. Porta potty.
Kevin, steer your
Porta
boat.
Porta potty.
for this
That's all
one?
that comes out.
For this one, Sharon, for 59, so landfill fees, and it was this, it's just, it's being recoded to a new,
She combined a couple together that shouldn't be, so I had to pull
Oh.
the bills and say what
Okay.
actually was in there.
okay,
That's one of the things we're gonna work on Thursday afternoon
Okay.
to get.
right,
those-
it's all landfill fees for all, over multiple departments.
So
Yeah.
those landfill fees will be like the trash that's taken out of
Correct,
this park.
yeah,
And out of this building, out of Hub, and out of DPW.
So they really shouldn't be under one.
Under, they,
Yeah,
yeah, right?
No,
no,
Under
Okay.
no,
rec
and there's some
department.
things that
Under
are
rec.
combined,
We'll
so.
stick up with-
Well, you're getting beat up.
Let's just
yeah,
put
if
it here.
this was me, I apologize. Maybe it was something like this, that it was a field highlighted, but I don't know why it would just be maint, like, a part of it would be
Yeah.
taken out, so, but we can, I mean,
There's a-
the numbers are in there.
There's
so-
a number there,
We'll get
the
it worked
44
out.
cents.
Yeah.
that we spent.
It's probably the non-mowing maintenance line.
Okay,
Those are all my questions, I think.
Mine too.
Any question, Peter?
No, but the labor's in a separate line.
Yeah,
Correct.
that was my other question. I was in it. So
So-
does this, you don't get an accurate depiction, do you, of what the
No.
actual percentage increase is on this? If you don't have the labor lines in here?
You don't have labor lines in most departments.
Yeah, I know that now.
So this is what your cost of operation without the labor, we can put it back.
No, I'm just trying to figure out if we could, do we get an actual like percentage of increase?
That's what I'm,
So that we have an accurate number of, okay, how much did this department actually go up?
Mhm.
You know, if you don't have your labor line in there.
We'll get to that.
Because that is usually the biggest line,
Right.
so.
right, part of it is like, do we wanna look at this at different ways? Do we wanna do it? Can we do it without labor, just looking at purely
Right.
revenue expenses without the labor, look at the labor separately? Or, I mean, Joel's always been talking about this, doing the labor first. That also could be the driver, looking at the labor line for everybody, figuring out what we want to do, and then that number goes into these budgets. So we have a clearer depiction, but it's also because we've got this new,
Right,
a lot of the lines were combined, and so we had to go with this new system. Like, we weren't able to use that previous document just because it was so heavy with inaccurate information.
Well, we should be able to put all the labor for the department in every department,
Yes,
just right at the top.
yeah, it's a matter of figuring out what the labor is. It's like.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to put all the breakdown,
No,
but you can put labor, which includes insurance, all that other
Well,
stuff. Say, this is
Well,
what it
that's
is.
gonna be combined.
Mhm.
So that's part of the drawing, so like so do you want? So like FICA and Medi, those are your taxes.
Right. Mhm.
So do you wanna know what the FICA and Medi cost was for each department?
I don't know that we need to break down. What I'm saying is like, if we have a salary line, which includes all of that, like you can total up for each department and just say, this is the revenue for Parks and Rec and Hub and whatever.
That's what I'm trying to ask you. So when we combined, we go back, eventually when you get the salary spreadsheet up, I can talk a little clearer on it.
okay, well, we don't wanna put that up now.
No.
But yeah, we can do,
But yeah, when we get to that, the way we combined it out,
We'd have to break it out.
You'd have to break it out per department
All the
or,
departments are,
Well, all we
All
didn't
the
wanna do was split the insurance between, like, if you work multiple departments, we didn't want
Right.
the insurance all split up.
it's not,
Like Valerie's salary, we didn't want it, okay, 3% go to water, 2% went to
no, we're
sewage.
talking more like workers' comp is all together, except for like PD and DPW, because they're separate animals, but everybody else's workers' comp is in one account number.
Okay.
Everybody's
so we just have to look at this
health
differently.
insurance is in one category, in one account
In one
number.
account.
And, but
So we may not be able to,
we could split it out, but it's gonna be,
yeah, it may be easier to just say, okay, what's the overall increase in the
Yes.
budget, general budget, rather
Yeah.
than each department? I mean, like, have you figured out your salary line and the
yeah, we
increase you're
put
hoping?
percentages.
Yeah,
But it's on the salary spreadsheet.
right.
We typically look at the overall,
At the end, we look at the
end is
overall
number
percentage
we look
increase.
at.
yeah.
But it
Yeah.
is nice to know,
I mean,
for our sake, what
Right.
the individual.
but we are seeing an increase in just the revenues and expenses here. It just doesn't include the
Correct.
income,
Right.
which doesn't necessarily correlate with their revenues. Because they're gonna get paid no matter what,
Right.
whatever they come in.
Yeah,
So I think we just have to look at it differently.
yeah, I mean, we're in this tough situation with this round, is that we're trying to figure out.
Flailing.
This new, well, no, not flailing, but this new approach, because we had a very complicated system before.
Mhm.
And we brought it all the way back to make it super simplified, and now we're seeing things that we'd like to be put back into it. And we don't wanna go too far where it starts to turn into that really complicated spreadsheet again.
And it could be separate, but I do like being able to see the whole picture.
Yes.
Well, yeah, I think. Yeah,
Part
I
of
mean,
that
you'll
is,
see the whole picture overall.
Right.
You're just not gonna see it by department right now.
Right.
yeah,
I think when you've got 3 departments, rec, fire, general, those 3, because you said public works and police stand by themselves.
Right, they're separate departments.
You don't know which one is gone through the roof, one who's held the line or even gone under.
Mhm.
But like this department brings in money,
Right.
and that money is supposed to offset some of those salaries.
yeah,
Mhm.
so does your tax money.
So, well, I just, it's not gonna be if they put all the revenue in at the end, they should actually have a decrease if they don't have in this budget, there should be a decrease if they don't have their salary there.
Right.
But there's a gap.
There's a gap, there's always a gap
There's
in
always a
rec.
gap.
There's always a gap in rec that we fund
So that's
with tax
our,
dollars.
and so that's our,
But as a board, if we said to
Allocation.
Meredith, and I'm not going down that road yet, but if we said to Meredith, we just can't accept a 7.22. But when we add the general in and the fire in, and it might be only a 3.1, and say, okay, the overall increase isn't bad,
Mhm.
but we don't know where to cut if we don't know.
We need to see the whole picture.
We need to see those salaries, even if it just said salaries and benefits up
Yeah.
there, a number.
Yeah,
It
because
doesn't have to
because
be
we can't
the
change the
three
salaries,
employees.
this
or
is
the
all
three-
discretionary.
Just salary and benefits, what's that? The actual cost of the rec department
Mhm.
for the taxpayers.
Mhm.
And say, okay, that is not 7.2, it's something different.
Mhm.
Well, I mean, then we go down,
We have, well, I say we have, Valerie always gave us this, a spreadsheet that said the total compensation per employee.
mhm,
So if you could do total compensation per employee, we could take that number of the employees in each department, and we could add them and put them in under salaries and benefits.
sure. Not, yeah, I mean, so it's not a spreadsheet that you can generate out of here easily, out of Nemrick. That's a manual spreadsheet that was maintained previously. I can run a report for each individual employee, generate that spreadsheet. But there's no system to make sure that that's correct, and that it's a data entry that we're hoping is correct. That's where I'm going. If we try to use the system for what it does, is where I'm.
Well, if we add all those employees up, it should say, the number should equal what your spreadsheet looked like and everything. Those numbers should be the same. The total number of all the employees and the number you get from the sheet with all the employees on it, the bottom line should be the same.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not looking to make more work, but
No,
we need
More
a real, we need
Ian, can you scroll up to the top? I have a question, go ahead, Peter, I'm sorry.
We need that number here in order, I wanna see that number. I don't have to see health insurance, retirement, I don't have to see all of those here.
But that's how we track them though, that's where the hard part is. So if for an employee, I think I threw it out, I mean, I had you and I were looking at it. It'll show you exactly what I cost you last year, to the penny. But it's just
I don't know about the mental,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it might not be worth it.
that number's not.
well, that was to the penny, I didn't say there was
There wasn't a mental health capacity in there.
But the problem is the report that comes out of it is not a spreadsheet, it's a generic report, I mean. Ian's got it right there, I mean,
yeah,
so.
because I asked the same question, but it's because of how everything is broken out. It's very granular. And that's what we had before. It was every little single piece, but the reason it was there is because Val spent hours taking that data and plugging it in to that spreadsheet. And then that was able to generate, but the problem was she did that in her own silo. And if something was wrong, no one would know about it.
Right.
Aiden, Taylor. Jackie.
It's just hard though, like when
Yes.
we talk to the public about the increase in budget and we say, oh, it's a 7% increase, but we've hired, maybe it's a lot
Right.
higher than that. It just feels like,
So,
not like we're misleading them because that's not the intention, but it's just not complete information.
Correct.
so I just asked Barrett, there's 4 employees in there. If we just ask the treasurer clerk.
To run this report and add those
Those
four
4 people
numbers
and say,
together.
and put it right under
so just the
line
total.
16,
I don't think he's saying you have to run it individually for each employee.
we got it.
You don't know that
I
you
don't
can
need to know
combine
it, just under line 16, it's gonna say
No, I know.
employees, health, salary and benefits.
So, yep, but, so it's a manual spreadsheet that I have to so that, what you see in, what he just handed around is what the system generates.
Okay.
Then I'll have to manually
Manually.
type all that into a spreadsheet to then generate the number you're looking for, which is what Valerie used to do, which is what I thought we were trying to get away
Right.
from.
So
So that's where
manual,
so what we're doing is we're tracking cost of employee now, not the department.
right, so you take the bottom line there.
Yeah.
And you take the bottom line for Sharon and you put them in, and that's what and Gail, and that's what that office, you add those 3 numbers together. Is that difficult to put in a line there?
That's what I'm asking.
just put.
The 4 rec people, you get their salaries and benefits, what it costs them.
Yeah, just the
So
We put it
my
right on
only,
line 16.
so my only concern with the, right now, when you have the salaries broken out as well, so you're gonna report on the same data twice in the same order.
No, I don't know that we're looking to report it in here. I think this is just for our budget discussions, Chris.
Oh.
I think this is just for our budget discussions.
Okay,
I
I
think,
thought you wanted broken up because I was like, we're using, it's like.
no,
200
because I
No.
think in here we'll have the
It all meets
salary,
up.
the salary spreadsheet, whatever you have, whatever we're putting in there.
Right. as a
We're,
total.
I think we want that number just for our
Right, so
budgeting
you
purposes.
generate
Those
12
are-
of these.
Exactly.
We grab yours and Sharon's and we take that bottom line. So
And
we
Gail,
even don't
yeah.
even, do we even have to do the whole breakdown, which we'll see in the salaries of all the Beamers that we were doing
No,
today?
no.
We just
Maybe
need a
we
total.
don't do that, but the trouble is though, what's in NEMRIC is not your budgeted. It's budgeted from the previous year. It's not like what you're budgeting now.
Well, we
Like
would
that-
add
Well, no,
the-
we would know, but we would, in the new spreadsheet for the employees,
Yes.
whatever, or whatever report you
Right,
have,
it's what
we
it's
would
at,
have
you'd
the
add your- your
total.
add your
We would,
percentage,
yeah,
right,
we would
okay.
just add the percentages
Right.
onto that to figure out what. Like,
Right.
if
Okay.
we're gonna say we're gonna give it a 3% raise this year, we could just
Yeah, okay.
add that up, you know? And the highway department and the police are different because we'll have those separate
Yes.
numbers.
I mean, that may even makes the salary one even simpler if we did it that way. If we didn't need to see all the breakdown of everything.
Right, we just want to.
We just need the bottom dollar. And
Well-
then then you can plug in order to give us that, can you plug that number, that percentage into that? Or you can only give us what's.
Which percentage, like the percentage of increase we want?
Increase we want.
It would, you'd end up doing it,
In here,
Yeah,
I would,
like we already kind of did in the salaries.
Yeah,
spreadsheet.
we'll look
Right,
at
and
that.
the salary.
See when we took salary,
And we- Yeah, and we still need the breakdown of the other stuff because they're all different percentages. We can choose our percentage for what we think Chris or Sharon should get, but Beamers and
Yeah.
FICA Medi will all be different percentages. So
Right.
we really need that in there if we want this picture.
Right,
Mhm.
but
I
we
mean,
do
we-
just need the total. I don't think we need it broken
Right,
down.
which, yeah, and we're working towards that, I think.
and the cost per employee changes. Yeah,
Right.
I mean, medical insurance alone.
Right.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
Ian,
From
can you,
from the not having it to having the.
The whole family
there's a huge
plan.
Discrepancy.
yeah,
Right,
Ian, can
absolutely.
you scroll down to that line that said maintenance? We don't know why it said maintenance.
I think it's the
Ju-
maintenance, not mowing.
Okay. Would you change that number from $5,000,
this number here,
yeah,
okay.
$276,000?
276,000?
Just, hear me out. I
Two,
just roughly
seven,
added
six.
the labor contracted or not contracted labor, FICA, medical,
Oh,
for
okay,
these.
he's just.
Oh,
Under
okay.
general,
Just wants a number in there.
and just added
Okay,
them.
now what
We
is it?
spent $276,000 in
That
health and
percentage
benefits
is
and
correct.
and salaries. Okay? Now, I know it's not 191% budget increase.
Right.
but
Well,
that-
that's because we don't have the number, the previous number.
you should have it there.
I just added
Oh, I see.
No, you should
Right,
have,
right.
what we
you
spent.
should have the
But still, then that
actual
is the
for-
total budget.
68,9, 5,000. I added these up and these up and just came up with a.
Don't you have a total rec there at the end?
Right.
Yeah, I just added,
Yeah, I'm gonna undo that.
yeah. I'm just trying to,
No, we'll get there. You'll see. It's just.
You didn't undo it, it's still in there, just so you
I'm
know.
gonna undo that. There we go. We'll get there. Once we move to the salary and executive session, you'll see that. And
Yeah.
it's just a matter of taking those pieces. It's still being built out.
Yeah, but because by putting it in here,
it was an
you're,
expense.
yeah, you're not making it equal, I guess, the way I
Yes.
look at it.
Right, and.
Okay.
and
229,
Your increase, your percentage
3.
increase, we're gonna have to do this over, we'll have to do it twice, we'll have to do
70.
last year's numbers. Is when everything moves in the system, if you move this pile, this expense from here to here and merge it with this, it's, the historical piece was merged as well, and you gotta compare apples to apples.
What was that number?
272.
No, the end number,
Like
4.
458.
Okay, so it's 415,
Yeah.
415 was
Yeah.
total here.
Yeah, so it's going.
The
So maybe
number,
the increase is
that's what I said, the
different.
number should be right there. That's the number that,
Right. But then we gotta subtract the budget. I was just adding the salaries. We spent.
well, that does, that 400 and, that does include the salaries.
Right, I know it.
On this one, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Is
Okay,
that
well,
clear as
Yeah.
mud?
Yeah, we're in a teething kind of
Right.
role right now with
you
this.
say that at Mark's.
It's a
third Monday night
transition.
in orders and see what they
It,
tell
it
you.
truly is
All
a
60
transition
of
for us
them
to
that-
all,
Right, I
because we've been
know.
so used to doing it one way, it's hard to see it.
You-
On the
10%
And
increase.
20 people on Zoom.
You probably want to go home, but if you want to
No, I
stay
was
and
gonna
talk
stay.
about, will you? Okay.
Okay, thank you, Mary.
Clear?
Yes,
Sorry,
very
Meredith, but thank you.
much. Thank
We
you.
had to work it through.
Any other sections that are available that says here?
No, that's it.
No.
Okay, review a preliminary draft town meeting and police district warning.
Okay. Share these. Just very quickly. Obviously, we don't have an amount in here, but this is just the police district warning. Pretty much the same.
Yeah, I looked at it, I didn't see any
Yeah, you
issues.
see it.
I made sure you had the right years.
Yeah, I got a couple dates on it, so, yeah. So there's that one. And then we've got the, we'll do the live document for the other one.
Oh. Jennifer.
Jennifer
Hi,
wants to
Jennifer.
join in
on the
I
meeting.
need another
Oh, yeah.
video.
Sorry.
Here, go ahead, Jennifer.
Thank you, everybody. I can hear you now.
Good. Let's see.
And we can hear you now.
Okay.
Excellent.
And then this is the, and again, this is,
You have a question for us, Jennifer?
Jen, these are still obviously work in progress for a lot of this as we sort of work through the budget side of things. Where's the other one? There we go.
So would you think, are you a convert?
Huh?
Are you a convert? Did you like them?
Okay,
Yes.
the chocolate things are better.
I would have never bought them if you
All
had.
right, here we go. So this is the town
I
warning.
assume the yellow highlights were stuff that you were needing
We're
to
working
change.
on?
or-
Well,
That's-
I gotta do Article 2 once I get all the,
Yeah,
that won't be till the end of the month.
who has to be, who's gonna be?
Running
like, yeah,
Oh,
I got one more year.
So one question I had on Article 3, which may not be Article 3, is the wording of this.
Mhm.
Can this be made more understandable and accessible, I asked. This is an example of that below, rewritten. My question is, can we use something like that? Or do we have to be in this particular language legally?
I don't think so.
Like,
I don't know.
for the longest
Did
time,
you look at VLCT and see if they had any model warnings out there that showed that kind of language?
I did not, but I can.
No, I don't know that it has to be in that physical language up there, just as long as all the information is the
Right,
same.
Right.
Yeah, I think you're right. Not that I've reviewed all the laws, certainly in our town meeting guide, training for moderators. We don't discuss anything about that. There seems to be just a tradition of making one long run-on sentence.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
I'm against one long run-on sentence. It was horrible to read that to anybody. I tried to use articulation and emphasis to make it more sensible. I like the rewrite. And I think the rewrite still gives people the ability to offer amendments to it and amend certain parts of it. It still works. Voters can amend it. I think it's more understandable.
I mean,
Actually,
the
easier to
information's the
amend.
same, it's just a matter of how you
Yeah,
put
I
it.
like
in.
Okay.
that. I like that.
Yeah.
okay, because it was just always very, I mean, ever
Uh-huh.
since I've been going to town meetings.
Never made sense.
No.
Right, I mean,
It makes sense,
but
but
it's
you have
like,
to really sit
yes,
and read it.
so breaking it down like this,
Mhm.
and then the same with,
Drawn
this,
up by a lawyer.
right,
So won't get anybody
exactly.
in trouble.
And the same with this one, number 4, this was an example of that as well, below, in the
Yeah,
gray.
I think that's fine.
That's a lot
Okay.
easier, yeah.
Again, it's trying to make it so
Yeah.
it's more understandable, as long as it's not going into territory where legally it's not correct.
No.
Okay, so we can update that. a lot of these, again, it's just the amounts as we work through.
Wait, you got one?
What are they gonna do? Kick us out of the state if we word it wrong?
I mean,
Well, it might
maybe it
invalidate it,
eases those.
actually. That's the risk. If somebody
Because they
appeals
could
this,
have
it could become invalidated by the courts, and then we won't have a decision on an article, which could leave you in trouble. We might have to warn a special revote on something if it's invalidated in an appeal. I doubt anyone's going to appeal this, though.
Right.
Yeah, appeal it because I understood it more.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
We've got our amounts here, we've got our salaries and all that. Article 7, I mean, in these articles, the numbers will change. We've got this is our unassigned fund balance.
Assuming we'll have that number.
Well,
Was Article 6 just a leftover, or do you have to do it each time?
it's every year,
Every year you do it?
Yeah.
Okay, so even if you don't change anything?
yeah.
Right.
Okay.
I mean, we could be
It
doing.
didn't change.
I know,
We
that's
could be
what I'm
doing,
saying.
we could be doing a terrible job and
You came in at the right time.
The voters on the floor could say, we don't feel you're worth that
Right.
much. Joel last year had a great speech about why he wants to put it up. It was really good. And they agreed to it. There was no arguing about it. You kept arguing at people and they were like, we're fine with that.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when Sharon was on, she would figure out how many hours she sent and how much per hour, and it was like 50 cents an hour.
Right.
And I can tell you the amount of time,
Right.
even at this,
No,
we're not
I was
getting
just
paid.
curious.
No, that was your
because-
argument last year, like,
I was just curious because it wasn't.
Cause I went
changing,
around,
so I'm like,
remember,
why do we
I
have
asked
to
the
warn
5
it?
towns around,
I
us,
know.
Middlebury and
I had done
Brandon.
that years ago,
yeah,
and they were all a whole lot more than we got.
yeah. So this is the unassigned fund balance. Looking at the audit, it doesn't look like we'll have any numbers from the auditors once
Or even
again.
23, 20.
Correct. So the idea is that perhaps there won't be any unassigned to assign. That would be the cautious thing to do.
And then it's not going anywhere.
Yeah,
Right.
You can do it.
I mean, the
next
only
year,
thing is,
yeah.
didn't we have a discussion about having to reimburse the water?
Yeah,
Right.
but that,
From,
those numbers are looking a whole lot different now, right?
I think so. Have to look further.
Yeah, the numbers are way closer.
yeah.
like, way closer, like we don't owe them as much
Right.
type of thing.
Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna say something else. We have them
Yeah.
a lot more.
So yeah,
Okay.
so the unassigned may not happen this year.
Right.
Well,
As we-
probably 11,000
Yeah, we gotta do the.
Right,
whole-
that one.
Right.
to the what?
So we would add that.
So last year we put in some money in,
We must have had a different article last year because
Yeah, because we hadn't
that
created the
fund.
fund.
It's in here. It's at the bottom.
Yeah.
It's below. I'll get to that.
but last year we.
Get the
put
number
in-
from Sharon.
We put in the numbers from the 21-22 season. When's the last time we put undesignated funds?
We did that last year, but it was from
What
2
year was it?
years ago.
Mhm.
So
It was the
21
unassigned funds from 21, 22, I
Okay.
believe. Because they're
We
working on
won't-
23, 22, 23, and 23, 24, right? Yeah. So it was
Do you know
21,
when
22.
we'll know that?
We haven't even heard from them.
They were here, we had a meeting, Ron was here for 4 or 5 hours, a lot of activity. Thought we thought they were coming 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they haven't
It's
been
been radio
back.
silence. I've sent out email questions. to
So
them.
this was already been signed, sorry, Chris, 21-22.
Right.
We had, still waiting for 22-23.
That they're working on the audit for 22, 23, and 23, 24.
I would like at least a 22, I can understand it.
Well, they're gonna put them together.
Yeah.
They're gonna do it as a
How
team.
can-
23, 24 is still a year behind,
Right.
Yeah,
because we're in the 24, 25
24,
budget.
25, yeah.
We're in the tail end of the 24, 25 budget.
I'm not very impressed with these people,
remember.
but not that we
next
have
time.
a whole lot of choice.
No, unfortunately not.
Which is probably why they're taking their time. They're like, we can do whatever we want.
I think the short staff, Ron said they were hiring, just.
Key, you can only hire if you can find employees.
Employees.
Right, you can say you're gonna hire a bunch more people, and in reality, yeah. So reserve fund unassigned probably go away apart from our 11,000 and change to this fund, which would be the capital recreation equipment and facilities. So that's what we created last year. So we'll add the 11,000 and change to that. So I'll change that. These are our account or town reserve funds. Obviously, depending on the amounts that we have set already, we'll go into that. We haven't set an amount for capital recreation. We opened it with a certain amount, which number escapes me, but I don't know if we want to set a certain amount that we do each year to that.
I think it's 10.
I think it's 10.
I was gonna say, I thought that's what we started with.
Yeah.
And we've also had a request from Taylor to create a hub capital
For skate park
for skate park,
donations.
that project.
Oh,
And that allows us to use the unassigned, formerly ARPA funds that we've assigned or gave.
We already gave them though.
No, we didn't.
But
They
here
didn't spend
again,
it at a time.
They didn't get any contracts or anything, so.
Yeah,
I understand that, but
They-
here again,
they missed
Nemrick's
the
trying to
deadline.
tell us to,
Well, we will have that unassigned funds.
can we put it in that rec? And
The ARPA
the
funds,
department chair, the
Know
department
of that at
supervisor,
least.
i.e. Meredith, keeps track is all the donations that came in for the skate park are in that rec, but it is only for the use to the skate park. Do we need to say skate park capital fund?
I would, because it's a standalone project, it's a
Well,
fairly.
I thought that's what they were trying to get us away from, all these standalone.
no.
No,
The-
no, no.
Not for that.
It was mainly line items and accounts. That was what had built up over a long
Okay.
time. It wasn't necessarily capital funds. We haven't changed any of the capital funds. The capital funds are the main thing that really drive what the town is able to do over periods of time.
And you keep.
You can
the
hold money there.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what's her purpose of wanting to create a capital hub fund? Just for the skate park to
Yeah.
re,
Take
For
the
that
donations.
particular project, she wishes for donations to go to that fund. Also the formerly ARPA money to go to that fund, which is a good way of managing that. At the
well, I
moment, it's
understand that, but what
unassigned.
happens when that project's done?
Dissolve. the-
Is she gonna then
dissolve
wanna have us to continue to put money into that account?
I mean, you could dissolve the fund, as Chris
Mhm.
says, or you could keep it where for maintenance and that particular thing could go in there, or if we're putting recreation equipment and facilities and the hub is in there too. I don't know, Meredith, can you speak to that your capital fund, capital recreation equipment and facilities, do you see the hub or anything related to those activities in that fund?
No, because that equipment money is really for the, like, field events
Okay,
and not, I mean, skateboarding would be considered a
Yeah.
field event.
so
but
you,
I wanna keep it separate,
Okay.
because for one, also, that's a massive amount of money for that project, and it really
Right.
should be a standalone.
right, so you could, as Chris said, you could dissolve it, and then in her budget line, she would need for maintenance or whatever
Mhm.
ongoing.
Mhm. Okay,
So then we need an article to establish that.
If we wanted to do that, I'll put it on the agenda for next week, which is a special
Well,
meeting. that we could discuss
If you wanna take that money that we have kept in house and put it in that fund, that we can explain.
right.
Correct.
That those are all gonna be unassigned funds, and we know that number.
Yeah.
It's the only one we know.
And you actually committed the $140,000 to
So
the skate park.
We could start that fund and we could put that $140,000 in it.
Right. And then we won't have to remember it.
Actually, what if the voters say no?
Right,
We've already committed ARPA 140,000, right?
Right,
Then you end up with, then you
Yeah.
still have more undesignated funds sitting in your account.
and then we can,
we can,
we
still
don't
use
need
it.
voter approval for the unassigned, we usually ask for it, but.
But this is just asking.
we could ask to put the earmarked
$140,000.
$140,000
You
of,
can't call it ARPA funds, so,
Now,
Right.
the unassigned funds,
I think in this, I'll check with Katie, but you may be able to, for voter clarity, you may be able to reference it as former ARPA funds.
right, previous.
Or they were allocated during the ARPA funding
Right,
process.
right.
There you go.
money allocated during the ARPA funding
That's
process.
a nice typing there.
For,
Capital skate park.
thank you.
Skate park capital fund. It'll fix itself.
All right, sorry. So our reserve funds, we've got, this is the actual from Memorial Library, their operating budget, their appropriation. These are the appropriations for Bristol-based organizations. Most are, I think all are level funded from last year. These are ones that had changed, that had either renew or were going through the 3-year process of increasing their amounts. Like this one here, we need to take this out. Sharon had a note on that. They've completed their 3 years, so they'll go into this list here. And again, last year
What, it doesn't show up that I changed it earlier, or are you?
Got lines through one of them, Article 18.
changed what?
Oh, I just wondered if, I thought you were putting a line through. I was like, wait, didn't I? I already
Yeah.
No, you
did
did.
that. Why didn't
I'm highlighting your strike through.
But the 16 and 17 are.
No, 16, 17 are,
Oh,
that's the bottom
Just,
one.
you keep
Yeah.
highlighting 3 of them, that's why. I thought-
Oh, sorry, yes.
It's because her comment,
Yeah,
that's
her
what
comment
it's
said.
showing
Yeah.
up like that.
And then last year, I separated out just the Bristol-based
Right.
organizations, just so people could see that.
Mhm.
And so obviously some of these we'll be updating too.
Which one was, I remember you asking, which one
Which one?
asked, well, Sharon said, yes, they submitted signatures, which one was that?
This one here.
As
Restorative justice.
Restorative
Services.
justice,
Yeah.
so they asked for more money.
Correct. So they'll move out of this one and they'll become their own article.
Bristol Rec Club, it was in 2 spots though, is that right?
The Rescue Squad?
No, Bristol Recreation Club, it's in Article 21, but it
15,000.
wasn't it right above in the other chart?
You'd think it would be there.
I thought I
would
saw
think it would be
it.
there.
Wait, where are you seeing
Right there,
Right
under
there.
Atria Collective, it says personal recreation club, 15,000.
Bristol Rec Club,
Oh, yeah.
but it's in the
Make sure
chart
it's up and
above.
up there.
Yeah, Bristol
Okay.
Rec Club.
That must be a carryover from last year. I don't know. Okay.
No, you didn't make that mistake.
Well, maybe I did.
So we gave them
You-
30,000, they're
you
like,
never
"What?"
know. No, I don't think we did. All right, let's use that strike through. Where is that? Oh, there we go.
If you
Okay.
just hit the delete button, doesn't it strike it through?
No,
No.
it's an actual story.
Okay. And then waiting for amounts for these.
Amounts like confirmation that they're the
Correct.
same.
Well, they haven't asked.
Oh,
What happens
I
if you,
sent emails.
if
to
you
them.
don't ask?
if you don't ask, you don't get on it.
You don't get on.
And then you lose your 3 years and you start all over again.
Well, Turning Point will definitely.
They really need to send us a note then, don't they?
Right,
Yeah,
and I
and
think
I-
Sharon, you
I sent
usually
a bunch of
email.
Emails tonight.
And I've sent emails as well. I mean, all of these, I've emailed everyone in these groups, apart from Hope. Hope for some reason has no email address. I'm not sure why that is.
They hope to get one.
Okay, so there's that. So working through, again, work in progress, as it always is this time of year. Exciting.
Okay. That it? for
All
that?
right. Any questions, Jen?
No, not on that. Like the changes to the articles. It's good.
Yep, getting there. Okay, excellent. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Jennifer. Any
You're
other? You might want to stay around for this one, Jennifer, too. Number 5.
I am.
Discussion on town meeting engagement and attendance. Jessica, I guess you're gonna give us a.
Yes,
Yeah.
so at the last meeting, everybody will remember that we sort of did a count of people who were there. And it was 66 that were there in the building and 20.
Last town meeting?
Last town meeting. And
Really? There were only 66?
Mhm.
It seemed like there were more than that.
We also did raising your hands if you were under the age of, what was it, 60?
Oh, yeah.
There were just a couple of us. And so that sort of provoked a conversation.
Ow.
Really? I know.
So that provoked a conversation there, but then it also continued on Front Porch Forum and over email with a lot of people in the community saying, we feel like this is really important. How can we encourage more people to attend? So I told everybody, I saved their ideas and I told them I would follow up with them. And so I collected, and you don't have to read this whole document. I bulleted out the
Oh, you
ideas at
did.
the top. But there are the new suggestions and then there are the ones that people gave me like right after the meeting. So anyway, they're all in there. But basically it breaks down to moving the start time a little bit early. People talked about maybe changing the day and like moving it to a Saturday or something, but an equal number of people said that they still
They
wouldn't
wouldn't
go,
come on
right?
Saturday.
But they did suggest moving it a little bit earlier. 7 p.m. seemed tough because if you have kids, you're then right up against bedtimes. And so it seemed like people wanted it to be moved earlier. But then they also were talking about, well, food. Like if there was a food option, then families could go, they could eat dinner while they're there. And then if we could ask, one of the groups maybe to provide childcare, free childcare. So then the idea would be that you would encourage families to come and that we would get more families. And then the other big suggestion was around education. And this was, there were lots of different ideas and they're all in the document, but basically it was that we would start doing like an education campaign on Front Porch Forum and maybe, in other formats, like if the Addison Independent would cover some of it, but just like ways to talk about why it's important that people come, right? So like.
I've seen a reporter here in 20 years.
Oh, they watch the videos, but but like things like, why is it important? Why should people come? Or an interview with somebody who, has attended the last 30 of them, or little like pieces of information like that to get people thinking about why it's important and that they should go to it. And then they also suggested doing maybe like easy to access information about what will be talked about, why it's important. And some people suggested like in sort of a comic or graphic format, like a picture. That would be good to
We
share.
put a picture of Ian up.
In one
It's
of
gonna
his,
drive people away.
in one of his sweaters, right? The sweater collection. We can have a vote on your favorite sweater
I
event.
didn't say that Ian. I just.
But these were some of the ideas, and I thought, I have Meredith's right here at the top, but I thought she had some good ideas because the Masons, they were saying that in the future, they would be happy to provide food. Especially if we were able to move it to like the school so that, they could serve food in the cafeteria. But this year they couldn't do it. So this would be something to consider for the future, moving it to the school. But Meredith, did you want to talk about some of the ideas you shared?
Well, just like a quick fix would be, I don't know what you guys do down here when you're during the town meeting. This would be a drop-off area for babysitting in this room, for accessibility, so.
Got the TV?
Got TV, yeah, we could do
We did a
movie or
little movie.
whatever. The other thought was Howard Hall, but the convenience for the parents is really what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
Right.
Obviously, we don't have a kitchen, so maybe a food truck outside. That was one of the ideas. I mean, obviously, if we move to the school, we have a cafeteria there.
Yeah.
And then, I think that was, the food truck.
Well, the Masons did it. They have their own.
We got a bar upstairs.
That might not be a good idea. You want participation, not like
Yeah, well,
angry,
you'd have
not
some-
angry yelling.
Yeah.
But so we could do the food truck, or if we wanted to do something similar to what the Masons do, we could just sort of expand it, like pizza, right? Like pizza, cookies, and drinks. It doesn't have to be complicated in the first year. It would just be saying so you're a family, you get home, with your kids, and you need to feed them and you need to put them to bed at a certain time. Well, the idea would be you could still go to this and participate and still get your kids fed, they'd be entertained, and then you take them home and put them to bed. And that we might see an increase in the younger demographic that is not coming to these meetings.
What do people think about the time?
I'd like to see it start at 6.
I work until 5.
I was just thinking the same thing.
I mean, yeah, you're not.
Everybody could give you dinner. You just
Part of
want
your
straight
job.
here, right?
I mean-
What I'm saying is, but it would be nice to get a bite to eat in here.
Yeah.
Right,
I mean,
We're gonna-
it's 6:30.
To get a bite
I don't
tonight?
I don't eat.
no,
I'll
Okay.
eat
That-
at
this is
10
my
o'clock
dinner.
when I'm home.
Right.
which is
For
not
the first
healthy.
time of the day.
It's not.
But the
It's not
problem,
all the time.
here's the problem with the time frame, because we also do the police district meeting,
Mhm.
we start that at
Oh,
6:30.
Yeah.
So,
Could
and we
we start
usually
that
meet
at
down
6 then?
here first if we have
I'd like to start. that at
anything to
6.
deal with,
Right.
and then go upstairs. And then we come back down here or we sit upstairs and wait. So, I mean, if we're gonna have daycare down here, we just have to figure out a different way of where.
I'll fit right in.
Yeah.
How about?
We
we
might
start the
decide to
first-
stay down here and
how
not
about
go
we start the
upstairs.
first district at 6
Right,
with a 6:30 town meeting start.
yeah.
But you're still asking me to come right here from work.
But
I
it's
don't
only
get
one
from-
day.
How about if we get it?
But we don't sometimes get done until like 9, 10, 11 o'clock.
I-
Used to
I
be
hear you.
midnight.
Midnight,
1
1 o'clock, I know.
Jen's so good now that we can,
I
keep things
know,
moving.
it's been.
Yeah,
nice.
Well,
yeah,
the-
we get over in 2 hours.
Right.
We
Yeah.
also don't have school stuff either.
That's right.
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 I mean, the police district one is 10 minutes,
Oh, I know,
so.
depending on
And
who
it's just
shows up.
that, you know, we have that 2 meetings or a meeting prior.
Yeah.
Right,
We do that.
Why do we have a meeting prior? Is there
we
a
have to
reason
have
for
2 informational meetings.
Yeah.
You have to have 2
Yeah,
informational.
but
meetings.
now you can do it within 30 days instead of 10.
Yeah.
They just changed the law.
So we could do
Do
those,
that
we could do
before.
those 2 at select board meetings and,
Let's do it. Yeah,
that? Okay.
and cut that. That'll.
I mean, we rarely get
No, I know.
questions.
No, because some of the people that used to come aren't here anymore. For
So,
the police department meeting.
so you would,
And the police
So
department
the-
is much better than
Come,
it
it
used to
just
be.
would be a different, it would be.
right,
come
so
to
the police
select
district
board.
meeting, it would be, instead of having one be at the previous select board meeting and the next one, the final one be at the beginning before this. We
Yeah.
would have them before this, and then our meeting would start, town meeting would start at 6 PM.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We've had select board meetings, though. Do we need to have a select board meeting? It's not a select board meeting, right?
It's only.
It is a
a
meeting because
meeting.
it's warned.
Right.
And
But
we're
it
there
could be
all
a
together.
special
Right.
We,
meeting.
usually, we only do stuff if we have to.
Right, so let's make sure we don't have to do anything, but it is a select board meeting, but we could start at 6 by moving the police district informational meeting.
The
Mhm.
2.
Because there's no voting, all it is.
Yeah, it's information
for the
because
next
they
day.
have to vote on it the
Yeah,
next day.
okay,
Right.
so that's one way where we could, if we wanted to move that, we could, and then we could have a direct start at 6 PM,
That'd
So
be good.
not have the police meeting at 5:30,
correct?
we'll have a different night,
Yeah, it would be earlier, it'd be a previous night,
It'd be in February,
yes.
2 of them in February.
Yeah.
Could do that.
just at the beginning of a select board meeting.
Right,
We have to do
We
one.
do one at the
do
beginning of
one
the
anyway.
select meeting.
Right.
I mean, the food thing for people eating is definitely, I understand the inconvenience, and maybe we can figure out something where participants to a town meeting
I don't
would
like to
be.
be hangry.
Would be, I know, exactly. We'll have some food when you arrive.
Well, and my only thought with having food is I don't have a problem with us figuring that piece out.
Yeah.
The only problem I have with that is if we're trying to do a meeting and people are eating, I find people tend to talk more,
Yeah.
if families are there with their kids, they tend
If
to
there's
talk
more
Yeah.
dinner type food versus coffee and
Right.
cookies or something.
Right,
Okay,
so, maybe something, if they're gonna do food, you do it even earlier, you say food's gonna be between 5:30 and 6. And then we'll start the
Well,
meeting.
Starksville breaks to eat their pizza, don't they?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I was
they're-
gonna say, you have to do a dinner
And
break.
they have to
because-
come back, they have the option to come back, right,
I
break
probably
12
don't.
o'clock is lunch for Starksville,
Cause you do it on Saturday,
right?
okay.
And
Start
then
at
if they
9.
have to continue, they come back. I think what you were saying was have the food before.
Yeah,
Right.
because it's gonna be a huge distraction to try to do.
Absolutely, that's what I'm afraid
Especially
of.
if you have to order your food and you have to wait for it, you're out of the discussion. I mean, we really
Right.
haven't gained anything other than some full bellies. You got people voting.
And people going like this, cause they're falling asleep.
But that's I think that's the idea about like maybe doing, so in the future, we could have, the Masons have said that they would be happy to do food.
okay,
But for this year, they can't do it, so
Right.
this would be like, could you have, pizza set up?
Yeah.
People grab a slice and that's it. The kids would be down here, they wouldn't be upstairs, because it turns out your child cannot be with you on the floor because they can't vote. So if you bring your child to town meeting, they have to go somewhere else, exactly.
yeah.
They're all sitting in the balcony.
Exactly,
No, wait, man,
yeah.
that's my spot.
That's why I
You
thought-
and Eric, you and Eric, tied up there.
I found this out the hard way. I'm like, sorry, kid. See ya. I'll see you later. So the kids would all be down there. They wouldn't be running around
Pizza
with
down,
food.
pizza upstairs with kids downstairs, how long? you
The
think those
kids are gonna
are-
have.
They would have
their own-
pizza, yeah. They would have pizza
Oh, okay.
and stuff.
All righty.
Well, I would, my other thought was if you did it earlier, the families could eat together and then
Yeah.
ship the kids off.
Yeah,
If
I mean,
they
if
truly
it-
wanted to eat as a family.
all of this discussion does help because it makes it more of an event
Mhm.
thing that you're going to. I mean,
Right.
if you had the food, if you did a food truck that was outside or something like that, so you could get food and that
Mhm.
starts at like a 5:15 or a 5:30.
Right.
And you're then rolling into the meeting at 6.
Yeah, we could definitely
know,
invite food trucks.
It's definitely
too.
experimenting with this, but it does
Well, I
make
don't
it
think
worth.
I mean, I don't wanna go out and buy 100 pizzas and then only have 50 people
Right.
show up.
Right.
Yeah.
That's where the food truck comes in.
Right.
And also, I've cut my budget for custodians, so I'm
Right.
cleaning, so I would rather have the food trucks like Dan Visco out there on the corner and
Yeah,
Chuck the over there as
Yeah.
well, like, so there's options.
Mhm.
And then, or one right out here on the grass, so
yeah.
that's, the food truck I think is great, we don't waste any money.
Yeah.
But then
And
I'll end up
we'd still
eating
have, we'd have
expenses.
coffee and small stuff inside,
The food truck
because we know
starts
that
at
the
5
Masons are
o'clock,
handling that this year.
then grab something to eat.
Yeah, we should
Maybe
ask them to
starts
do
at 6.
5 o'clock.
And,
Yeah.
and you want the trucks gone by the time your meeting starts, so that you don't have the in and out nonstop. I mean, I know it's so, but
Right.
it is a
Oh,
huge
no.
distraction.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so we could ask the food trucks to, finish by 6, wrap up by 6:15 or whatever it is.
And it,
Well, if our meeting starts at 6, we want them.
Yeah.
Gone by 6.
Monday.
because there is no pizza, we're not ordering from Cubby's
Right.
that day.
Yeah.
So.
Snaps is the only one that's open on
Yeah,
Mondays.
so getting a food truck on town meeting day would actually be
The
great.
only option.
Other folks who aren't even gonna attend, they'll just eat.
If Jen,
Yeah, I'm here. I was just looking at Nino's in Middlebury. They serve on Mondays. They're open for pizza.
okay.
Mhm.
If we decide to go the food truck route, who would handle organization of that?
I'm not volunteering.
What about the guy we gave permission to be on the park?
That's Dan,
Huh?
that's
Yeah.
Dan, yeah.
I mean,
He's a little bit different because of his structure. It depends on whether students are available
Whether
and
he's got
stuff like
students
that,
available.
depending if he wants to do it like that. But we do have other food truck options. I mean, Jessica's been sort of researching this. I don't know if you're willing to,
So
There will be a JP by then, so you mean Dave Lyons, right?
yeah.
So there are,
What?
Jessica's-
so there are 3 things that we'll have to organize. Sorry, there are 3 things they'll have to organize. One are the food trucks, the other is the childcare option down here. And then the third is whatever education we're doing. So I have volunteers who are happy to do these things. But before I turn to volunteers, Meredith, is there any part of that you or Taylor would want to do, like food trucks or childcare, or
So
should
the
the
childcare
volunteers?
here, I would rather hire some of my mountain bike coaches, they're already in the system,
Okay.
like, they need to get paid, the kids, the teenagers, I think,
Mhm.
in order for it to work out well.
And Porter said that she has some money left over from a grant that she wrote that was about inclusion. So
Yeah.
she
Mhm.
thought that it might be appropriate,
Oh,
depending on what we come up with, that she might be able to help fund something like the childcare.
Okay,
Yeah, and the reason why I also would have the babysitters, we already have all the paperwork.
They have to be certified. They have
Yeah.
they have to go through the whole
Yeah.
process, yeah.
So,
So I'll email you afterwards and put you in touch
Okay.
with Porter.
Is there a capacity issue with this room?
I think we would also have to consider the town administrator room, I think that's the only other spot that we could do like coloring cause it's pretty clean, it's clean as office.
I try to keep it.
Now. What I'm saying is there a capacity limit on this downstairs?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
There is
There's
a
no
limit.
little posted sign
Yeah.
like in my classroom.
there's a limit. I don't
Yeah.
know what it is, but there's a limit.
Okay, so we need to look at that capacity limit down here. Also, is noise gonna be an issue? Is it gonna travel up to where we're sitting? Because I guess we're sitting probably about there,
Yeah.
Mhm.
so.
I don't know, when they're up
Because we know it travels down.
Yeah.
It does travel down.
Yeah, are we gonna be
I think
listening to
you-
Moana?
I
as
mean-
we,
I think
As we
a
do our-
movie on the screen will dictate some of that.
Yeah, we could do some testing.
And we'll
with that.
see. Okay, so Porter and Meredith, I'm going to put in charge of chaperones and I'll email them and coordinate. Food trucks, I'm happy to reach out to people. Should I get information from you
For Dan.
for Dan?
Yeah, I mean,
You could talk to Dan, or you could talk to Courtney at Bristol Core, or
Okay.
Sarah Stillman, the farmer's market coordinator.
So are we gonna have
Okay.
people crossing the street?
I was just, and they're
Should we
taking
ask-
parking spaces.
the
Also.
one spot
'Cause, so- spot
for food truck that would work is, I don't know if you guys have been to the food truck that would work is, I don't know if you guys have been to the food truck that would work is,
Yeah.
I think it's called, 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 right in front of the building,
Mhm.
permission from Bruce, because that used to be the handicap
Right,
parking spot. And then we could actually put a tent also on the front lawn.
That's great. And so I'll need to warn Bruce about that.
No, don't allow any parking on that tile, so, where we park right now tonight.
That's where I park.
Me
We'll
too.
find a different spot, you guys.
yeah, I think if we're able to park there and it's facing this way, so it's not an issue in terms of.
Yeah.
A dangerous vehicle, I think that'd be fine. And
So are
that
you
serves
thinking
people-
only
serves
one
people-
food truck?
Or maybe one on each side, so 2 food trucks.
And weather too, remember, so you definitely need trucks, just from catering,
Yeah,
catering is terrible.
yeah, you don't wanna be in a tent, yeah.
Food trucks can be questionable enough.
Yeah.
So then I'll do food trucks, getting information from other people and
Okay.
also talking to Bruce about placement. And then I can coordinate with the volunteers to think about what sort of posts they would want to do
Education.
and
Yeah.
run those by you so that you
And I
see
can,
them
I can,
before.
work- I'm happy to work on that too, so. if
Okay.
people wanna talk to me
So I
about
will
that.
copy you on
Add
that.
one more thing on your to-do
Well, I would
list.
do it anyway, that's the thing.
This way we'll be getting people to help. Okay, well,
Okay.
this is exciting and we can try it this year and then see what
Yeah.
happens and collect more feedback and,
Good.
maybe do the school
Yeah.
next time or something.
We only have like 135 chairs.
Upstairs.
Right.
So keep that in mind.
Right,
I like
Yeah,
to-
right.
so we get 135
Double
people,
the
that'd be
capacity.
out there.
We can always stick them up in the
Yeah,
balcony.
It's, I mean, it used to be 300 before COVID. Now I'm like, 2. And there's
Yeah.
seats upstairs.
Well, the capacity is 300.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Okay.
standing room.
But they got the balcony.
There's the balcony.
I like how optimistic you are, that these changes
Well,
will
I
be
put
like.
those chairs out, so I'd like to see them used.
Yeah, okay,
All right,
well, I'll try.
thank you, Jessica. Discussion of the 2024 ethics and conflicts of interest changes, the statewide municipal code.
I started laughing when I was reading this stuff.
Something we have to abide by.
Yeah.
Let me just share this out. Yeah. I don't know a tremendous amount about this.
It's like,
Can we go back one moment? Are we doing a information campaign too on Front Porch Forum and all
Yes.
that? Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, that'll be part of that. That
Education.
3-prong approach. With the food truck, childcare, the time change, and then the education part, yes.
Am I welcome to post something? Does it need to be pre-approved and screened?
I think you would be fine to post.
Yeah, given that you're the
Okay.
town monitor, I think it's
You know
fine.
more than we do.
Yeah.
Or more than I do.
Right.
Well, this is
Think
more
this is
about
broken?
marketing.
Things gotta go through the mayor.
just don't throw us under the bus.
No, no jokes at anyone's expense. No, not even Ian's sweater.
Thank you. That would be great, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
All right, I'm logging out. Bye, everybody.
Good night.
Night.
So the code of,
Yes. So it was Act 171. And let me get the summary here. This is from, let's see if I can find
I just was reading and it said, you have to put down your name and your income source and your spouse's name and your income source. Not the amount, but your who, and I'm like, what? It's like, if you think I'm putting that stuff down, you gotta be kidding me.
Well, I mean, I understand if the person is getting revenue from like a contract that you're approving or something.
Right, but that's a conflict of
Right, but
interest
if
and
it's
they would
not a
recuse
conflict of
themselves.
interest, right?
And we mostly, this is covered in what we already do
Yeah.
and what we discuss each year when we have our sort of new, our informational meeting
Right.
at the start after town meeting. But this is just, where are you gonna be now?
Dominican.
Oh, that's right. But this is the statewide new one that came into effect, January 1st. So I encourage everyone to look at this. There are, a lot of things are covered in what we've done. There is training that we have to do.
Yeah, I saw
As
that too. You're
municipal
required to do a
officers,
training.
Required to do training. All offices are, yeah.
Online training or we have to go?
It's an
somewhere?
online
online,
training,
yeah.
yeah. I didn't click on it to see how long it was,
Yeah.
but I was like, oh God, just another training.
Yeah,
I
ethics
know.
training, education, members of legislative bodies or quasi judicial bodies. So,
Okay.
and we have until, I think the training is by the end of September. But we do need to also have information on our website and forms and such for.
Yeah, I don't know, if we finish a training, then what do we do? Because we have to keep track of it, so
We have to have, keep track of
Like
we
it.
get
are
a
keeping track of it
certificate.
ourselves.
I think at the town level, we'll need to keep track of it.
Right, like the certificate of completion.
So do I like send it to Sharon? Do I send it to you? Do?
Currently unknown, probably to the town
Town
administrator, yeah.
Mm.
Send it around paper towel, trash
Yeah.
can in the corner.
Mhm.
But we'll update, I'll keep updates.
Who has to do that ethics training? You scroll. back
Everybody.
there. Well,
Everybody,
I know,
Mm.
I'm wondering, do we have any other?
yes.
Yeah, all your committee chairs.
Mhm. Are your department heads?
Yeah.
I think we have.
I would hope so.
The people dealing with the money might
Yeah.
have to
you
do
would think-
those.
Wait, what?
We don't have any decision.
Yeah,
I have to do this for my notary public, you know, you have to do that yearly training and then you have to,
Have you done yours
Yeah.
yet?
and then you
Am I
have to like
supposed to?
upload it and it's like,
Oh, you should have told me. Where you are.
yeah.
Stamp.
So there you go.
Thank you.
Yeah, so look at those things, please.
Okay.
yeah, and did you see what the original act was, how many pages that was? I was like, I am not reading this whole thing.
No, it's a lot.
Just remember to sign about it.
We have minutes. Oh,
Right.
sorry, Joel.
Review meeting minutes, approval of 12/9/24, 2024, 12/16, 2024, 12/23, 2024, 12/30, 2024, and 106.
That should be 2025, I think.
Yeah. 106.
I'll make a motion, we approve all of the minutes.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion on any of them or changes anybody?
I
saw?
had minor changes on one
Minor
of them,
changes and then we're
and then
gonna
they were good.
be, then we're all caught up.
Entertain a motion.
Pretty impressive, huh?
Okay, so, all
Really worked on
those
those
in favor?
minutes.
Aye.
Opposed?
We don't have any stragglers from way back.
Yeah,
Oh, probably.
probably ought to keep those
I
up.
need to check.
I mean, even if we just,
Minute. I don't think we have anything where,
The way.
Accounts payable.
Oh,
where there's anything that's not posted. They could be draft minutes.
Yeah, they could be
And
dry,
I'm,
yeah.
when I have a spare second, I'm,
we should make sure
I'm
those
going through.
drafts are, I mean,
Well, and I
they've
thought-
been that way this long.
I know.
Well, no, I thought, Val was having, what's her
Carol.
face?
Carol.
Carol, go through the old ones.
She was, yeah. I'll follow up.
Okay.
on that.
Yeah,
Yeah, these were all.
authorize accounts payable warrants and any liquor or tobacco licenses. Didn't see any liquor or tobacco.
No, not yet.
We
But
got,
they'll be coming.
They'll be coming.
accounts
most of them
payable is
expire at the end of
$58,543.03 for the record. And everybody has signed it, so that's been approved. Select board roundtable. Oh, Peter, let's start with you.
Did anybody else get contacted about doing something for somebody who was looking into?
Front Porch Forum?
I did,
Yep.
yeah, I did
Mhm.
the interview.
Okay, good.
We're good.
Because I,
He'll send us
Yeah,
a link.
it's legit.
Yeah.
no, I know, I figured it's probably
Okay.
legit, but I didn't want the questions to go unanswered because I do not do front porch forum.
I answered his questions and he'll send us a link to the article, so I'll send it to you. all.
Right.
If that happens again, shoot us under that base camp now. So I didn't know anything about it.
Oh.
You didn't get an email on your personal?
I got an email, but I wasn't responding to it because I thought it was
I did
junk.
He
get one.
emailed all of them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I did
It
actually.
might have gotten,
Yeah.
I was gonna say.
I didn't figure it was junk, I just,
yeah.
I don't,
I did. I don't like communicating with those things because it's like, okay, what are you gonna ask me? And what am I opening myself up
You know.
to?
I get calls at 4 o'clock in the morning from Pakistan for WhatsApp video.
Oh, what's that?
Mhm.
Oh, God.
All those
How the heck
ones
did
I
you
did.
get onto
number is
that
like-
one?
yeah.
Most of my interviews are with Chinese media, so this is pretty easy.
Anything else here?
No, that's it.
Jessica?
I don't think I have anything. No,
Yeah.
not till correspondence.
Under select board stuff. I'm gonna ask you about town
Yeah, I
administrator. Michelle,
No, I think it's good.
you're all good. I just want to thank the board for my absence the last couple of meetings. I was supposed to be out the night June 32. I told them, no, I've got to be at board meeting. And the second
You
thing
know, you're
is,
getting a fine.
Good night, guys. Thank you.
I think we ought to, well, we haven't just put the budget away, but the cell phone I agree with the cell phone concept for the DPW. But what was it, Chris, gonna be, give them all so much a month?
Stipend.
So it's gonna
Rather
be-
than the
Rather
pages.
than-
Right, and I get rid of the pages, I agree with that. But I want to say a stipend for the year. Because if I was a DPW employee, I'd say, wait a minute, you're giving Sharon $50 and Eric $50 and, you know, Chris $50 and Brett $50, all the department heads $50. I want my cell phone $50 reimbursement. I want to call it something different. I want a stipend for the year. I think it should, just think about it. Don't have to answer tonight, because we can't vote on it, but just think about it. Should it say something different than cell phone payment per monthly?
What do you call it? Because we get it weekly now. We don't get it monthly.
Oh, it's
Part of
all
our payroll.
part of your payroll. Anyway,
Yeah.
usually seeing here, it says
Does it
cell
say
phone,
reimbursement?
Well, so are you asking whether, is it gonna
because you
be,
don't have enough.
They were paid, carried the pager.
Right, but not $50 a month.
I don't know that they were carried for the pagers. We
No.
paid for the
You
pager.
paid for the pages, but they
They
weren't
weren't,
carried.
they
Only
weren't
one
paid to
Only
carry
one
them.
person carried.
But at the same time, if I want them then to be accessible, not just by pager, but by email to any questions I have. I mean, I carry this, I have my phone and you're reimbursing me, is I'm in your beck and call basically 24/7, by phone, by email. I doubt they're gonna be checking their email on a Sunday afternoon to find out whether or not all the healthcare ID cards showed up.
right?
I mean.
Right, no,
working
I
on my
agree,
phone.
Chris, but are they gonna come back and say, certain employees say, wait a minute, you're paying your buddy $50 a month, I want my $50 a month.
No, because it's just.
You're not a department head.
It's just for the call. It's not to do business. It's
Right.
just for the call to come to work.
So that's what we're gonna call it, then. That's all I wanna be clear about it. It was hard to hear over the bus, you know, sitting in
I mean, we
the
could
bus.
call it like a pager.
Just reimbursement for,
Pager.
cell phone.
You'll figure something out.
Something. Okay, that's all I had, it just that, and now you have nothing more.
Yeah, but I think you have the reason now why it's a different amount. It's because it's, you know, different
We're gonna give
employees.
them a stipend for using your cycle,
Yeah,
To be on call.
to be on
Right.
call.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it kind
Maybe we
of
can call it
okay?
that, stipend for being on call.
Well, no, because
I know,
No,
it's for their phone, but it's not for being on call.
Right.
Cause they're on
because
call.
that's a different.
Yeah.
okay. And then, that's all I have.
Town administrator report then?
Yep. Now we're in the report.
let's see. I mean, I've said a lot of stuff tonight. Herb Olson emailed asking, some legislators are putting together legislation to seek to address issues related to recent flooding. Got
Yeah,
feedback
your
from,
response was very good.
feedback from a bunch of people, and I responded with a letter. They asked for 3, I gave them 7. So hopefully that'll,
Overachiever you are.
you know, it's the feedback I got from everyone, it was great. Drafted that, sent that out there. Not much else. I mean, I continue to do the job. The hours are more than what was advertised. But it's fine. It's working through it. I'm working towards a goal. I mean, the budget stuff is tough. It's just, you know, putting that together, and doing the town report, you know, and I volunteer to do the town report as a select board member. I'm doing it as part of the town administrator because there's so much of it that needs to be done anyway that I would ask Val to do, or, you know, or a previous town administrator. So they sort of blending together because they all sort of overlap. But continue to go do meetings. We had a FEMA meeting this morning, update on that. So we'll have an update on that probably in a few weeks. Main thing is just sort of focusing on getting through these next few weeks and doing the budget and then getting the town report out and ready and then preparing for town meeting. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff to juggle. And yeah.
Okay. Any correspondence reports or?
No, that was just the Herb Olson letter. We had
I
that.
received a letter, but I
Yeah.
think it's really for you, not for me.
No, we all got one.
Oh, you, okay, good, then you don't need it.
Probably in your box.
Yeah, I just learned I had a
Well,
mailbox.
he doesn't look that mailbox.
No.
No.
we did have some concerns from a store owner on Main Street about the plowing, and I was wondering how to bring that to the board. If it's an email that I received to the select board or to us, is it become a public document? Is there a discussion to have a discussion about it? Like, what would be the easiest
If
way?
I
you
guess
got
I
an
would talk
email From
Talk to the department head.
as the administrator, you got an email?
Yes,
Well, Val would forward that to us.
okay.
And
Or
then-
forward it to
Eric.
Eric,
Okay.
if it's a
Yeah.
question of.
Well, because
what
it's
he
more of a
wants.
discussion. It's like, it's not something I can present to him
Mhm.
and he has a fix for it. It's just sort of like, concerns about some things or improvements. It's just,
Mhm.
so
Yeah.
it's a person, more, not like. it's
But
a
he's
person-
gotta be part of that discussion.
Yes, and
Yeah,
that's,
right.
that's why I'm
Right.
wondering
Yeah.
what's the best way to do that.
And that part of that,
Add it to an
I mean,
agenda or
I
something.
haven't
Well-
seen the email, so I can't comment too
Yeah.
much, but if it said that, why is the time of day being plowed this time or what?
Yeah, it's
or
things,
that,
things
you know,
like that. It's sort of
then I think
question.
that's an Eric
Okay.
answers those,
Okay,
personally.
Yeah, if you think you can do it internally, then.
yeah, that's what I was
Eric.
wondering.
Or if it's something that we need to make a decision on, then.
Okay.
Send it to us.
Okay. What I can do is I can send you the emails and then you can just I can get feedback from you folks
Mhm.
and then I can proceed that way. It's not an emergency. It's not a big thing. It's just like observations and like questions. So
Mhm.
I just want to make sure I'm dealing with it the right way. Okay, and that was that for that.
Do we have any executive tonight? or-
We do, because we want to talk about the salaries and then I want to give an update to the town administrator hiring.
Okay, I was gonna ask that.
Okay, I make a motion, we enter executive session per one VSA section 313 to discuss personnel matters. Are we inviting Sharon and Chris?
We are.
We're inviting Sharon and Chris.
Is there a second? Okay.
Somebody want to
Yeah,
second
you
that?
need a second.
Sorry, I know we get people. And a vote.
Second.
Second is a vote. Is a second, all those in favor of executive session, please say aye.
Hi.
Aye. Opposed, abstained, okay, we are in.
Great.
Good night, Jimmy.
Thank
Bye,
you.
Jimmy.
Night, Jimmy.
Let's wrap this up.